Central Indiana. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 9 o'clock.
A triumphant return. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President-elect Trump is back in Washington, D.C., meeting with House Republicans at a hotel this hour, then back to the White House for the first time since leaving office in 2021 to meet with President Biden.
This is the first time President Biden and Trump will meet in the Oval Office. Biden didn't get the invite 4 years ago. It's the first time they'll see each other since the debate in June. Since then, Biden has called Trump a threat to democracy and his supporters garbage, though the White House claims it was only one supporter. Trump has called Biden stupid and incompetent. White House officials say the president will give Trump his take on how he sees things, like maintaining support for Ukraine.
Fox's Rich Edson. Ukraine's capital has come under its biggest aerial assault from Russia in months.
At least 7 people were killed in Kyiv overnight. A barrage of drones and missiles also damaging buildings and energy infrastructure. All in all, Russia targeted 8 Ukrainian regions with 6 missiles and 90 drones.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Senate Republicans elect their first new leader since 2007 today, with Mitch McConnell stepping down from that role. A CIA employee is accused of leaking classified information assessing Israeli plans to attack Iran.
The defendant, Asif William Rahman, was indicted last week in federal court in Virginia on 2 counts of willful retention and transmission of national defense information. He was arrested by the FBI yesterday in Cambodia, now being held in Guam, where he's expected to face charges. The New York Times saying the suspect, quote, held a top secret security clearance with access to sensitive compartmentalized information, which is typical for many CIA employees who handle classified materials. He could face 2 counts of violating the Espionage Act.
Fox's Todd Pyro. Consumer prices in October come in 2.6% higher than a year ago. That's up from 2.4% in September, the first rise in annual inflation in 7 months, looking at the Labor Department's Consumer Price Index. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A school in mourning. It's 42 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. A high school principal in Hamilton County died suddenly on Tuesday. Hamilton Heights principal Jared Mason had been in the hospital the last several days and was said to be improving, but on Tuesday he passed away. No reason given yet for his death. A man shot and killed on the east side early this morning.
Currently, the only thing that we know for sure is that this residence or this person was targeted, but we don't know why at this present time.
Captain Don Wildhammer with IMPD. It happened at a neighborhood near 16th and Shadeland. A police officer was trying to do his job on Monday, and he almost lost his life. Donnie Burgess.
Indiana State Police in Marion found an abandoned car on the road around 9 o'clock. Trooper Brock Green was investigating. He sat back in his patrol car to work, and that's when another car smashed into him and the abandoned car. Trooper Green managed to walk away without injury, but the same cannot be said for the driver, 75-year-old Charles Marks. He was charged with DUI and possession of marijuana. He's now in the Grant County Jail. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Your senator weighing in on what he thinks of President-elect Donald Trump's picks for his cabinet so far. One of those picks is Senator Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. Senator Todd Young believes he's the perfect fit.
Well, I know Marco Rubio is a critical thinker, a very effective communicator. You know, he's going to tell the president, offer his private counsel, offer his thoughts unvarnished.
Young on Wish TV. The Indiana Hoosiers are now the number 5 team in the college football playoff rankings. That places them as the 7 seed and squaring off with Alabama if the season were to end now. The Live Golf Tour is coming to Westfield.
This will be so unique for Central Indiana and certainly Westfield that we think there'll be a huge draw, not only from the local area, but nationally as well.
Westfield Mayor Scott Willis talking to Tony Katz on WYBC. The tour plans to play its individual regular season finale at Chatham Hills in August 2025. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
Crash, Carmel, southbound Keystone Parkway at 106th Street. Multiple vehicles involved, untold, and we are stopped. Back to East City Center Drive, 126th Street. That's a 17-minute delay. Crash clear northeast side at Lawrence. Northbound 465 at Fall Creek, still stop and go back to I-70. South Meridian Street closed between Sumner and Troy. That's because of a broken water main. There's flooding. In the meantime, you can use East Madison or Bluff Road. Traffic sponsored by PureTalk.com. Stop overpaying for your cell phone plan. Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month on their 5G network. Dial pound 250 and say keyword switch now to save 50% off your first month. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the fives. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
In the fight against lung cancer, it's game on, game strong. Franciscan Health leads the way with robotic technology to find and treat cancer sooner. Our entire team of multidisciplinary experts let cancer know it's hard to play against us. Franciscan Health is changing the game for lung cancer patients. Schedule a consultation or second opinion today. Visit franciscanhealth.org/lungcancercare.
Hey guys, it's Rob Kendall. Give back November 21st at Hi-Fi. Get tickets to a celebrity bartender toast to Moselle Sanders, powered by Jack Daniels. A night of community, Jack Daniels cocktails, and fighting food insecurity. Sample signature cocktails crafted by celebrity bartenders, all working to help raise $10,000 to feed 10,000 people this Thanksgiving through the Moselle Sanders Foundation. Tickets start at $20, with all proceeds benefiting Moselle Sanders Foundation's mission to support families in need. Get tickets at hifiindy.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard Air dealer in Indianapolis.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Increasing clouds and breezy. Scattered showers arrive later this afternoon. Today's high 59. Widespread showers this evening. Around a half an inch of rainfall expected. Lows into the upper 40s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8's Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
It's 43 and sunny on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
Sending money somewhere. We're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
The Department of Government Efficiency. Doge. How about that? What are the odds? It's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan Hatcher from Saturday Night on the Circle in for Casey. Kev is back. We'll get to where Kev was here in just a little bit. But first, Ethan, the big announcement. Last night, social media blowing up that Donald Trump has said that he will put, as he describes him, the great Elon Musk working in conjunction with American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, better known as Doge.
I love it. And you know what that's referenced to, right? That's a meme. That's the Shiba Inu dog.
Doge coin, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
there's
the
a crypto.
Doge coin came from the Shiba Inu dog, who was the original Doge.
All right, so he says they will slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, restructure federal agencies, essential to the Save America movement. Now, I don't know what to think about this because he describes that it will become potentially the Manhattan Project of our time. Now, that's it's as big as the nuclear bomb, so that's a pretty big deal. I don't know what to think of this, Ethan, because on one hand, I'm like, this is freaking awesome. And then on the other hand, I'm like, is this even a thing? Like, can they do this? Do they need government approval? Can you just make this? Like, what are these two guys going to actually do?
In my libertarian fantasy, like what I would love to see is some version of the president of Argentina, Javier Milei. Remember when he was in front of that whiteboard and just tearing the government agencies, and eliminating them. This gone, that gone, this, the other one gone. And so I would love if that's what Vivek and Elon intended to do. That was one of the great successes of the first Trump administration, 2016 to 2020, was the enormous cuts to the regulatory empire that he made in the federal government. So a return to that, I think, would be great. However, I share your caution and a degree of apprehension because Elon Musk has not always been this conservative darling. This is a reinvention for Elon Elon Musk. I mean, it was not so long ago that he was the big time beneficiary of government giveaways circa the Obama administration, when he was the darling child for coming up and pushing the electric car initiative in such a big way, as was Tesla at the time. So the fact that he sort of created himself and certainly enriched himself off the back of American taxpayers and is now taking charge of, in some way, remolding the government, I don't know. I approach that idea with apprehension. Now, maybe Elon has experienced a change of heart. Certainly somebody can evolve. Since 2008, it's been quite a long time.
Okay, so here's my concern with this. So in Indiana, when Mitch Daniels was governor, he put together what was called the Kernan-Shepard report. And that was former Chief Justice Randall Shepard, a Republican, and former Governor Joe Kernan, a Democrat. And he said, you two, in a bipartisan fashion, are charged with coming up with ways to make local governments more efficient and effective in the state of Indiana. And those guys, this was in the middle part of the 2000s, those guys came up with a fairly comprehensive way to reform township governments, cities, all of these things, and said, if you want to remake the state of Indiana and government and get rid of waste and overlap and all these things, here is the bipartisan book on how you would do this. And you know what that thing did? Collected dust. And anytime they tried to get anything enacted from that, the local government people lost their minds. And I mean, look, township government is largely just a colossal waste, and it does, in most cases, next to nothing. And you're just paying for a trustee to have a job. And that's kind of what that report said all those years ago, and it hasn't gotten any better. But the point is, the people who benefit off the thing fought to ensure that the thing doesn't change because they want the benefit. And so my concern is, okay, you get these guys who come out and say, we're going to shave $2 trillion off the $6.5 trillion annually spent. By the way, think about that. Annually, we're spending $6.5 trillion in this country.
Incredible.
That's amazing. You can't even fathom how much money that is. But let's say they come up with common sense ways to shred $2 trillion off of that, which should be doable. But then it's going to affect this guy in Oklahoma, and of course then his senator's not going to go for it. And it's going to affect some power broker in New York, and his senator's not going to go for it. And so I wonder how you're going to utilize these guys to get these things enacted into law, because it's the exact same thing Mitch Daniels ran into, where he said, look, there's this beautiful report and it has all these common sense things, and if we just follow the playbook, Indiana will be so efficient and effective as local governments, and none of it ever got enacted.
One of the biggest beasts, of course, is the military-industrial complex, because we have continued to feed it with the conflicts in Israel against Hamas. We have continued to feed it with the conflict of Ukraine against Russia. We continue to feed it around the world with various skirmishes with Iran, with the various deployments we have at bases that make no strategic sense at this point. So, I mean, if we're going to shave trillions of dollars, a big place to start, I think, would be there.
All right, should we read part of this for the audience?
Let's do it.
Okay, so
bring us some Whitney.
Yeah, so for those of you who are new to the program, Ethan, did you know I once interviewed the president?
Yes, I heard. I believe he once said that it was a great dream.
That's right. He wished every interview could be just like that. And I know for some people that's old hat and they've heard it before, but we have new listeners all the time. So as part of that, when we read thoughts from the president on social media, I read them in the voice that I am picturing in his head as his thumbs are proficiently typing out the thoughts that would become a part of the social media app. And we play Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You in the background as tribute to Trump calling me a great dream. All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. I look forward to Elon and Vivek making changes to the federal bureaucracy with an eye on efficiency and, at the same time, making life better for all Americans. Importantly, we will drive out massive waste and fraud which exists throughout our annual $6.5 trillion of government spending. They will work together to liberate our economy and make the U.S. government accountable to we the people. Their work will conclude no later than July 4th, 2026. A smaller government with more efficiency and less bureaucracy will be the gift to America on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. I am confident they will succeed. Exclamation point.
Love it.
So are we all right with Elon Musk? Because there's a new report that came out from The Independent saying basically Elon Musk is on all these phone calls now with Trump, with these government people and world leaders, and Elon is just like the Cato Kalin house guest now at Mar-a-Lago and is basically just involved in everything. Are we all right with that? Are we okay with that?
More importantly, does it matter whether you or I are okay with that? Because it seems the Trumpster is perfectly fine with that, and he has elevated Elon, and there is a partnership there, and the American people have put their full faith and confidence behind whatever the Trump administration seems to have in store, because they voted overwhelmingly for Trump, but also gave the reins over to Republicans in the Senate and the House. So he has the majority needed to accomplish the vision that he has in mind. So let's watch it.
All
Watch
right,
it happen.
Let's take a break. Ethan's in for Casey today. When we come back, Corinne Jean-Pierre was very offended when she got asked about how Kamala and Biden's lunch went, and she doesn't want to talk about a pardon of Hunter Biden. It's Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Finally, a sports betting podcast for real dudes, not these male Kardashians that you see on television. The Degenerates Next Door Sports Betting Podcast. We do all the homework, we do it for free, and we don't wear skinny jeans.
The Degenerates Next Door. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Download today The Degenerates Next Door.
If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Christine said, I highly recommend this company. They did my garage floor and I absolutely love it. I'm planning on having them do my patio in the spring. Don't wait. Call them today, 317-751-9070. That's the number for Galaxy Concrete Coating. They can turn any concrete surface into a much better space. Find them online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com, or call them 317-751-9070.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, if you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast. So, for any kind of office.
I'm really going places in my office.
Count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Miss M's Home and Garden and Sundown Gardens fall sale is still on. 30 to 50% off all trees and shrubs in stock so you can finish up that landscaping for next year. If you're thinking about interior holiday decorating, they've got you covered. Stop and shop stunning displays filled with the best quality Christmas decor. Holiday open houses are coming too the weekend before Thanksgiving. That's Miss M's in Bargersville on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road, MissM'sHomeandGarden.com, and Sundown Gardens, 186th and Spring Mill Road in Westfield, SundownGardens.com.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The Pacers are ready to make another deep run in the Emirates NBA Cup.
Rebound Jackson, Pacers run. Mathurin pulls up and hits a three.
It's the first of 2 home Emirates NBA Cup games on Lucas Oil Family Night.
This Friday's Lucas Oil Family Night when your Pacers meet the Miami Heat. The Pacers tip off their run at the Emirates NBA Cup, and you can enjoy Family Night tickets, including a Pacers hat, hot dog, chips, and small Pepsi product. Tickets at Pacers.com/family. Pacers Heat, Friday at 7.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
We have the best technicians in the business here at Family. They'll take care of you every time. 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Well, apparently Kamala and Biden got together, and it went about as you'd expect. It's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan's in for Casey. Kev is back. So Trump and Biden are getting together today. Is that right?
That's what I hear.
It's going to be
Should be interesting.
Yeah. It's amazing. He is willing to meet with Adolf Hitler. Isn't that crazy?
It's literally 1933 Germany / A Handmaid's Tale.
I mean, it puts the full ridiculousness of these people on display, where you called this guy a fascist, a threat to democracy, a Hitler, a Nazi, all these things, and then you're like, sure, come on over, let's sit down and let's pal it out, right? Like that's what it. We've said this for years, Ethan. Politics is dinner theater, and if you see it as anything else, you're a real sucker, because for the most part, that's exactly what it is. It's a glorified dinner theater.
Speaking of dinner theater, Karine Jean-Pierre put on quite a good show for us when she was asked an uncomfortable question by Peter Doocy. I loved this clip when you put it on the template. I laughed and laughed and laughed.
Okay, so apparently Kamala and Biden got together yesterday, and Peter Doocy, who's the Fox News guy, one of the few people who has actually for the 4 years tried to hold this administration accountable. He asked, because obviously, look, I mean, they stole the nomination from Biden. He had 14 million votes. They took it from him. She then just totally, what's the bed, totally blows the election. And by the way, did you see that interaction, that video? I put it on the template yesterday of Jill Biden and Kamala Harris on Veterans Day.
If looks could kill, or I guess in this case, the absence of looks, because she just pretended that that Kamala was a non-entity as she was right there shaking hands with other, leaders in the White House, with other staffers, and then Jill Biden giving her the cold shoulder. It was
they were at some veterans thing, and it was like she didn't exist. And I heard Hammer and Nigel talking about this yesterday. Think about the arc of Jill Biden. Like, hey, 6 months ago, idiot Whoopi Goldberg is saying you should be the Surgeon General. And, because you're a doctor, she, of course, has no idea what sort of doctor she actually is. Yeah. But you're on the covers of these magazines, and you're so powerful in the White House that you make people write you a fight song for when you show up places. And you're the gatekeeper to Grandpa Joe. And within 6 months' time, 5 months' time, whatever, Biden totally flames out. He's out of there. You're out of there. And Kamala completely, who took it from him, completely blows that. So now you guys are out of the White House altogether.
Well, I mean, it's got to be devastating for Jill. Think about how much power she had. She was basically the Edith Wilson 2.0 of the White House over the last couple of years at least. So she had an enormous amount of influence.
All right, so here's Karine Jean-Pierre getting asked about Kamala and Biden's lunch.
We know that today, a week after the election, President Biden and Vice President Harris had a private lunch. How awkward was that?
I don't even understand. Why would it be awkward?
Because
why would it
the president
be,
got squeezed out for her, and then she kept him at arm's length, and then she lost, and now she's back.
Why would you characterize it as awkward? They have regular lunches. They meet and talk regularly. Why would you call it awkward?
Weirdness about the way that things have unfolded.
Did you see them? Did you see them together yesterday as well when they honored our veterans and were together during the day, making sure that we didn't forget the brave men and women that fought for this country? Did you see them together yesterday? Did you see the show of force together? This is. I'm not even going to take the premise of the question. What I will say is the president and the vice president had lunch today. They've had lunch many times. They have, they communicate with each other regularly.
It's good stuff, right? Yeah. Peter Doocy's great. He's the one guy who for 4 years has never wavered and tried to hold those people accountable, and that's just great stuff.
The way she tried to answer the question is comical in and of itself. Like, lady, nobody is buying this crap. We know that it's going to be awkward because Kamala Harris and crew threw Joe under the bus to make that possible. How could and after such a stunning defeat, how could it be anything other than awkward? Like, there were more artful ways she could have attempted to answer the question, but going about it in the blatant, dishonest path that she took is what makes this so comical, and it's part of the reason why Democrats have lost. People are tired of being micturated upon and then told that it's raining.
They're what?
Urinated on and then told that it's raining.
Why did you say that?
Because sometimes I like to drop a fancy word. It's my thing, Rob.
How exciting. Very good. Okay, so one more here. So she got asked about the idea of Hunter Biden getting pardoned.
President Biden says that he's not going to pardon his son, Hunter. Is he going to ask Donald Trump to do that?
I don't have anything else to share about that. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this. I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
There's no way Donald Trump would ever pardon Hunter Biden, is there?
No.
There's no way. He couldn't. Even if he wanted to, there's no way he could do that.
Well, I got to imagine the old man is kind of crossways with his son because the corruption, in the Biden administration is a huge reason why, he eventually lost favor with the Democrats and they ensconced somebody else as a replacement.
All right, let's take a break. Ethan's in for Casey today. Kev is back. When we come back, we're expecting a big vote today on, now, of course, you won't get to see it. It'll be under shadow of darkness, but who's going to be the majority leader in the Senate? We've got some audio from Ron Johnson, senator from Wisconsin, talking about that. Plus, hundreds of people out at CNN. What is going on over there? That place is a dumpster fire. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Hey, guys, here's a number for you. $182,000. It's a big number, right? According to CBS News, the average American loses out on an average of $182,000 in Social Security income, and it's because they file for their benefits at the wrong time. Learn how you could avoid this with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Dimry, your retirement guy in Indy. We trust Bill to help us with planning for our retirement, and you can too. This free analysis could help you get the most income from Social Security while considering the impact on your spousal benefits, taxes, IRA, and 401k withdrawals, and Medicare premiums. If you save more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis by calling 317-932-9912. Don't lose $182,000 in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Call Bill Dimry today at 317-932-9912, 317-932-9912. Tell him Kendall and Casey sent you.
One of the real advantages that we have here at Hendricks is the scope of the services that we have to offer in orthopedics.
Whether they have a hip fracture or they're a high-functioning athlete, we're all working towards the same thing.
To have them be able to have an elective surgery safely and then go home also in a safe fashion is of utmost importance.
We very much want everyone to get back to doing everything that they were doing beforehand. We're really invested in it.
Unstoppable orthopedic care. Learn more at hendricks.org/ortho.
Get in gear with fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get a brand new 2024 Navigator. Get an incredible $10,000 off plus 0% for 60 months. Or get $7,000 off select new 2024 Lincoln Aviators plus 0% for 60 months. So get some of those fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24412. MSRP 104200. Stock number L24208. MSRP 75300. See dealer for complete details.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
As a caregiver, managing your loved one's health can at times be overwhelming. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I'll share 3 tips to help you manage your loved one's medical care effectively.
Cardon & Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Tip number 1, keep a list of all medications, dosages, and schedules to ensure your loved one is taking their medication correctly. Second, attend doctor's appointments with your loved one when you're able. And finally, stay organized by keeping forms, notes, and other important documents in one secure place. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joyce House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Hannah complained of a headache. It was a rhabdomyosarcoma. The tumor was very aggressive, and it very quickly became clear that St. Jude was the ultimate place to be. St. Jude is an asset to the world. I think it's the kind of place that could teach the world a couple of lessons about how to treat people. If those lessons could be learned, this world could be a better place.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Who else he is picking? Radar is clear. It's mostly sunny, 44 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. President-elect Trump is meeting with President Biden at the White House today. As that goes on, Trump's transition team is releasing more of his picks for his cabinet, like Fox News host and Army veteran Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense.
The president-elect says of Hegseth, nobody fights harder for the troops, and Pete will be a courageous and patriotic champion of our peace through strength policy. Now, Fox News Media has also put out a statement tonight that reads, Pete Hegseth has been an exceptional host on Fox and Friends and Fox Nation and a best-selling author of Fox News books for nearly a decade.
Fox's Aisha Hasni, billionaire Elon Musk, and former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy will be leading the new Department of Government Efficiency. President-elect Trump made that announcement yesterday. The Live Golf Tour will be contesting its individual season championship in Westfield next year.
Between our hotels, Hamilton County hotels in central Indiana, this will be an easy lift, in my opinion, to pull off.
Mayor Scott Willis, who says that the tour will be playing at Chatham Hills in August 2025. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. With new inflation data, stocks are modestly stagnant right now. The Dow is up 25 to 44,099. The NASDAQ is down 2 to 21,187. And the S&P 500 is up 2 to 6,015. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Okay, close your mouth and take a deep breath in through your nose. So the way it's supposed to be is that you should be able to breathe easily. You shouldn't feel constrained. What it should feel like is air briskly flowing freely through both nasal passages, day and night. And if not, there's a problem. And it's a don't know what your problem really was until you got it fixed kind of problem. You're living with it. I mean, you're tired a lot. It might give you headaches and sinus pressure, but you're living with it. Yeah, you sound like almost every patient we help until we get their problem fixed. And then you hear them saying, why would I put up with that? Advent will get you breathing freely again with simple in-office solutions like turbinate reduction along with balloon sinuplasty that really can change your life.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So the vote is supposed to be today. You don't get to know anything. But I guess by the end of the day, we'll know who's leading the Senate for the Republicans. It's Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan Hatcher from Saturday Night on the Circle is in. Kev is back. All right, so Merritt and I had a little spirited back and forth on this, Ethan, yesterday. And, you know, we love Jim Merritt, but he's such an institutionalist. And I said, I think it is complete crap that as a taxpayer in this country, I don't get to know how my senators vote to pick the leader of the United States Senate. And Merritt's like, well, it's just the way it is. And I was like, well, that doesn't make it right. I think it's horrible that the Republicans are going to go behind closed doors and they're going to pick, it's like picking the Pope, right? And then there's going to be smoke come out of a chimney, and then some guy's going to be able to lord
over 330 million people, and we don't know what took place.
I mean, I love traditions, but I'm sorry, that's a little bit of a lackluster argument to say, well, that's the way it is, and so that's the way it's got to be. Doesn't the Senate get to determine its own rules, thereby they can change the way that it is?
Well, and you and I were talking about this because you haven't heard word one from the Duke of Spendingburg, Todd Young, or Jim Banks about how they plan to vote. And for those of you who don't know, there's 3 people running to be the president, the Republican leader of the Senate. It is John Thune, who is a senator from one of the Dakotas. It is John Cornyn, who is a senator from Texas, and Rick Scott, who is a senator from Florida. John Thune is the establishment darling. Rick Scott is the Trump guy, and then John Cornyn is sort of somewhere in the middle. And it had leaked out that all of these, including Banks and Young, were supposedly going to vote for Thune. Now, I know in the case of Banks, his phone lines were shut down both in Washington, D.C. and Fort Wayne. We figured out a way around his little rigged email system where you had to be in his district to send an email.
What do you mean they were shut down? Was that because it was overwhelmed with callers?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so many callers.
I thought you meant that he shut it down.
No. I mean, he would have liked to, I'm sure. I bet he doesn't know how to shut his phone lines down. But the point is, and Ethan, you and I were talking about this before the show. We warned you about Jim Banks. Like, people are up in arms. And we said, if some guy will not stand on a debate stage for an hour and tell you how he plans to vote or what he wants to do for the country, you should not be surprised when he doesn't respond to you, when he doesn't listen to you, when he doesn't do what you want once he's elected, because he doesn't believe he has to be accountable to you. And Jim Banks basically didn't campaign at all.
It's an incredible level of arrogance, but I understand how the ego can develop when it's routinely rewarded. Jim Banks didn't just win the election. He won in an overwhelming majority, and he just had to stroll to victory because he had an R next to his name. That's how simple it was, riding off the coattails of a deep red state in a Republican landslide election year with Donald Trump at the top of the ticket.
But here's the thing. He claims to be a Trump guy in his ads, right? Like when it was convenient for him.
Sure.
You know, I'm a Trump guy. I'm endorsed by Trump, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's your first opportunity to show us what kind of Trump guy you actually are.
That's a good point.
You know, somebody told me this who is very knowledgeable about Jim Banks. I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, 2 days ago now, about this. And this person told me, they said, Jim Banks was plotting to get into the U.S. Senate before he ever got into the U.S. House. And now he's plotting his next move, which the next move for a guy like that, they see a guy like Jim Banks sees himself being president of the United States someday. And I mean, you laugh, but that's the way these guys operate.
Sure.
And Jim Banks, guys like Jim Banks and Todd Young, wanted to be in politics from the time they were old enough to tie their shoes. And they look at it as, well, what are you going to do to me? The answer we have proven as an electorate is nothing. And John Thune is the establishment choice. It's the money choice. It's the status quo choice. And that's how these guys elevate, is through the status quo and the money and the establishment. And they're not going to risk offending that unless there's some dire consequence of doing so. And we haven't proven that yet.
How are you feeling about the alternatives, being a Scott or a Cornyn? I don't have a strong opinion here, but I'm a little dismayed that it's never a Cruz, it's never a Hawley, it's never somebody interesting. I mean, Rick...
I have a theory on this. Would you like to hear it? Because, like, when I was an elected person, I never wanted to be in leadership of anything. I like to just sit on the end of the dais and just throw grenades at people because that was fun for me. And every time you'd have an opportunity to lead the body or whatever, I never put my name in. I never wanted to do it because it's a lot of work, and you have to give up some of the, or if you do it well, because you're basically herding cats, you're running meetings, you're getting consensus, you give up for a guy like a Cruz or a Lee, what kind of defines them, which is, or a Rand Paul or whatever, their ability to come out and go on cable news and say whatever they think about whoever they want with no, it's much more fun to not be in leadership if you just, for many of these guys, and that's why they don't do it.
Because they would have to be more responsible in leadership.
No, I mean, it's like, and in their world, and look, I say this as having been it, I viewed myself as being more effective, being able to say whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, about whoever I wanted. And if you're a president of a body, or you're leading the Senate, or, you know, whatever, you've got to drive it down the middle because your job is to get things across the finish line, which means you got to deal with egos. It means you got to consensus build. You got to do all of these things that a Cruz or a Lee or a Rand Paul or a Holly or whoever, they're not going to deal with that.
So do you think Rick Scott would be more successful at that endeavor?
Well, I'm not as I'm not
opposed to him.
I'm doing this to point out the hypocrisy of a guy like Jim Banks. Like, I don't think Rick Scott's going to be some world beater. I don't think Rick Scott's going to be Donald Trump. I'm pointing out, though, it's clear Rick Scott is the Trump guy, and it's the hypocrisy of someone like Jim Banks, who, when he's running for election tells you how good of buddies he and Trump are and how much he loves Trump and he's endorsed by Trump. And then he gets an opportunity to prove it, and it's all quiet on the Western. He clearly knows what his constituency wants. They've shut the phone lines down. He's been bombarded on social media. I've seen them. He's been bombarded with emails. I know about them. He knows what his constituency wants, and he could put it all to rest right now, coming out saying, I'm voting for Rick Scott. He won't do that. And they're hiding behind anonymity to say, you don't get to know how I vote.
Do you think there's going to be kind of a vacuum of Republican leadership in the Senate for a while? Because for all of his faults, the turtle, Mitch McConnell, was a really effective Republican leader, and he delivered a lot of legislative victories for the Trump administration, including, and, possibly his greatest achievement was denying that Supreme Court pick to Barack Obama and allowing, Donald Trump then to sweep in and make the choice.
I think the Republican brand is poison, and we'll get to this later about look at how many of these down ballot Republicans dramatically underperformed Donald Trump. And had Trump not been there, it wouldn't have even been close in most of these Senate races. The Hovde guy in Wisconsin who will play in a little bit. You got
some of them were goobers like Kerry Lake in Arizona.
Well, but the point is the Republican brand is nothing. If I were to ask you what does the Republican Party stand for, what would the answer be?
Nothing.
Right. You can't say what the Republicans stand for. There's no contract with America. There is no here's our legislative agenda. It's
low
Trump.
Taxes, limited government. Those used to be the banner issues, and I can't say that those are the cornerstone Republican politics anymore. That's the cornerstone Republican politics I would like it to be, but I would be dishonest if that's what I said it is now.
People do not like Republicans, and if you look at by and large, other than Pennsylvania, what happened in the election this year is Republican states elected Republicans. West Virginia is a super Republican state. They elected a Republican to the U.S. Senate. Montana is a super Republican state. They elected a Republican to the U.S. Senate. Ohio is now a super Republican state. They elected a Republican to the U.S. Senate. They had the last of the dying, air quote, moderate Democrats in there. And by and large, yes, they won Pennsylvania because Trump ran so well in Pennsylvania that he was able to lift McCormick across the finish line. But by and large, the Republican brand, and look at the House seats. They're going to get it, but barely. It's a toxic brand. People do not like the Republicans. So Ron Johnson, also the name of the stereo salesman in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, he is a senator from Wisconsin, and he was asked about this vote today, and he said the same thing we're talking about: lack of transparency, not happening out in the sunshine. He's talking about trying to delay the vote today.
So news broke seconds ago that Trump's coming up to the Hill tomorrow and we're going to be addressing the House chamber. He'll presumably be addressing the Senate chamber as well, yes?
I would think so, and that's why I'm going to be, I think others are going to be asking for delay in that vote. Again, that is, I mean, it is grotesque the way that came down. Last minute as we're leaving town, it's announced we're going to be voting Wednesday morning. Go, what? We're going to be in town for less than 24 hours. No discussion, no candidate forums, no nothing. Just, I'm sure McConnell figured he had, whoever he wants, grease the skids and just do it before anybody even notices.
Yeah.
Well, I think the American people are noticing.
Oh, so there's going to be a delay? That would be great. I mean, is there a motion
sure
there?
Hope so. Again, it'll take a majority of our conference to basically vote for a delay. But, if somebody else doesn't propose, it's probably better off if somebody else does propose it. But if nobody else does, I will.
He's not going to get that. They're going to vote that today. There's no way they're going to give this a chance to fester and let people get momentum for Rick Scott. There's no way. Thune's their guy. They want to get him across the finish line and be done with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to stay behind closed doors.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, big problems at CNN, plus the Charlemagne the God guy. You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
He had some incredible, the hypocrisy of the left on full display when talking about trans people in this country. We'll talk about that coming up next. Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou, a term provider, 800-444-9336. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-9336. That's 800-444-9336. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-444-9336.
Hey, Bill, where you been? You're overdue for a haircut.
Man, listen, my water pipes burst and flooded my house. Place a mess. I've been staying with my daughter till I can figure out what to do.
You trying to fix it and move back in?
No way. It's too big a mess. It'll cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't got that kind of money.
You trying to sell it then?
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but who's going to buy my house in this condition?
Did you call Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters bought our house when we were in a jam. We needed to move real quick. They closed fast and gave us cash.
Simple Quarters will buy in any condition?
That's right. They buy as is. You don't have to repair anything or clean anything out. It's simple.
What do I have to do?
Just call them. They'll do a quick walkthrough, then they'll make you an offer.
Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to help people in difficult situations. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME. Check us out at simplequarters.com.
Jesus. That name invokes a response. Some love him, some are unsure about him, some are indifferent to him, and some hate him. Wherever you land, join us at Life Church as we journey through the book of John to discover who Jesus actually is. You can go to lifechurchin.com for campus locations and service times. And whatever you think you may know about Jesus, we promise you there's more.
My husband, Bob, has Parkinson's, and he needs more help now, and I need more support to help him. Thanks to Indiana Pathways for Aging, we're getting the support we need to help him right here at home, like with meal prep and basic personal care, and even respite support for me.
Pathways provides Hoosier Medicaid members, age 60 and over, support for care their way, so they can live life their way. To learn more, eligible members call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
In the fight against lung cancer, it's game on, game strong. Franciscan Health leads the way with robotic technology to find and treat cancer sooner. Our entire team of multidisciplinary experts let cancer know it's hard to play against us. Franciscan Health is changing the game for lung cancer patients. Schedule a consultation or second opinion today. Visit franciscanhealth.org/lungcancercare.
Join WIBC this Saturday for the Home and Garden Show live from Sullivan Hardware and Garden at 71st and Keystone from 9 to 1 for Turkey Fest. Come sample Thanksgiving sides and gobble up some turkey at Turkey Fest with Sullivan Hardware and Garden and 93 WIBC.
Well, things are pretty bad at CNN. Seems like we've been saying this for years and years and years now. It's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Ethan Hatcher from Saturday Night on the Circle's in for Casey today. Kev is back. All right, so Post Millennial has this article that says CNN is set to kick off a new round of layoffs that could affect hundreds of employees, including people who are appearing on air. And my question to the populace at large would be, who is still actually watching CNN?
Airports.
Thank you. That's it, right?
Well, I mean, that's where the PPM meters walk by on a routine basis. And that's where the ratings come from.
I mean, what person on an active daily basis is like, I must get to CNN to find out what is happening in the world and get my thought and opinion fix?
I'm sure you've heard one of the journalists that has been affected by these rounds of layoffs is going to be Chris Wallace,
yes,
who is departing the station.
So Chris Wallace was the
Fox News guy.
Fox News guy. He signed a big contract to go over to CNN. A bunch of that was going to be, he was doing online stuff. Remember, they had that big online.
The abysmal failure that was CNN Online. And that was a big part of why he jumped ship with Fox and then went over to them. And it just completely fell apart because turns out people weren't really watching Chris Wallace.
You have to give people a reason to engage on a consistent basis. And like when I was a kid, what are you? Are you 30?
32.
You're 32.
Just had a birthday on the 10th.
Congratulations. You made it. Another year. When I was a kid, CNN was sort of like the only game in town. So if there was any sort of breaking news, I mean, unless the networks cut in, you did go to CNN to get information. The ticker, the information, I can remember the Gulf War. It was CNN all the time.
Right, when cable news was actually innovative. It was new.
Right. And CNN at some point in a post-Ted Turner world, really, decided they were going to tack hard to the left. And in a weird way, CNN is sort of like what we've seen from the Indy Star, which is the Indy Star, when they want to, can do great reporting. They did great reporting on the Thomas Carl Cook stuff, Larry Nassar stuff. When Indy Star wants to do good reporting, they can, and it's a worthwhile read. However, the problem for them is their politics, the opinion pieces, are so far left and angry left in many cases and radically left in many cases that people just aren't reading the nuts and bolts. And I think CNN's kind of the same way, where the people you've put in positions of prominence are, one, not very talented. See Caitlin Collins, Don Lemon, Cuomo, and their politics do not align with the majority of Americans.
I think that pigeonholing themselves in that way has really damaged the brand for a couple of reasons. I mean, not only have you alienated half the audience outright, but the core base of the loony left, if there's any level of deviation from, their core political beliefs, then they will hang you out to dry. They will completely desert you and abandon you. So when you have alienated half your audience and then the remaining half of the audience is full of lunatics who you have to walk on eggshells in order to appease, then I think that's why, their ratings have evaporated.
Yeah, all right. So this guy, Charlemagne the God, you know who he is?
That was the genesis of the "if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black" clip from Joe Biden.
What is he, a radio host,
yes.
a podcaster?
A mix of the above. That's the modern, broadcaster.
This guy is an idiot. And for some reason, he was in the 2020 election, some anointed gatekeeper by which all great thought, and if you were a political candidate, you had to walk through this guy, and I have never understood this. And we played a clip yesterday with Jim Merritt of, or maybe it was with Spanglish on Monday, I can't remember, all these days run together now, of him being told by one of the networks about how many minority votes Trump actually got, and he was totally floored. And then he attempted to explain it, and it was the most ridiculous word salad nonsense. And it's like, you go, this guy has no idea. First of all, he didn't even know how many minority votes Trump got. And then once he's pressed on it, then he gives this bizarro, stupid word salad. So he was talking about Caitlyn Jenner. And I don't necessarily disagree with what he said. My theory on it is, if you're a man, you're a man, and you're a woman, you're a woman. And just because you say you're something different doesn't mean you are. But that's the Rob Kendall conservative standard for this, that men are men and women are women, and you can't be something else just because you say you are. The left has set the standard of you can be whatever you want. If you want to be the Mr. Snuffleupagus man, you can be that. If you want to be Oscar the Grouch, if you want to be Big Bird, you can, whatever your pronouns, your gender, your whatever, you say it. And we are the bad guys. You are a bad person. You are a scourge on humanity. If you don't go, yes, that's right, you're now Mr. Snuffleupagus man. And so he, as a guy of the left, launches into this rant against Caitlyn Jenner. Goes by Caitlyn Jenner now, as Bruce Jenner for years before. And this appears to fly directly in the face of what the left has said about transgender people. And basically what he's saying is, if you're a supporter of Donald Trump, then none of the standard applies to you.
Caitlyn wants to put his right foot in, take his right foot out, put his left foot in, take her left foot out, pee at a urinary stall, and shake it all about. But that is not how any of it should work. But you know what? At the end of the day, Caitlyn, you can change the top layer, what you was, who you was before you got here. And what you are is a rich white male. And that's why I keep saying him when I shouldn't be. But I can't stop seeing Caitlyn as a rich white male. And that identity, pun intended, trumps all. Please let Chelsea Handler give Caitlyn Jenner the biggest hee-haw.
Hee-haw, hee-haw. That is way too much Dan mayonnaise.
He's just a rich white man.
That is so crazy.
And everybody need to cut it out.
Now,
okay?
When you say it, it's fine. As soon as Jess said, off with her head. Period.
Yeah, okay, so you get the idea. So basically what he's saying is all this crap that we tell you about how you're an ist or you're a phobe or you're this or you're that. If you say you have a penis, you're a man. You don't get to say you're a woman. That I guess you're not that if the person is a Donald Trump supporter. All the things we've told you go out the window if the person is a Donald Trump supporter.
But isn't this evidence of exactly the phenomenon I was talking about with CNN courting the hard left base as the sole audience that they are entertaining and their loyalties? If you deviate from their core beliefs at all, they will ostracize you, they will alienate you, they will target you, just like they're doing with Caitlyn Jenner right now, because Caitlyn has said controversial quote unquote opinions like transgender men should not play in women's sports. And that is so abhorrent to the radical ideology of the left that they are now willing to throw Caitlyn under the bus. They did the same thing with J.K. Rowling, who is a leftist on every single issue except the transgender issue, and they'll throw her under the bus too.
Yeah, and it is fascinating to me that the theme in the post-election world for the left has been, we're showing you that none of this mattered. We're showing you that all the things that we told you we didn't really mean. It's like Biden meeting with Trump today. If you believed the guy was Adolf Hitler, would you let Adolf Hitler roll into the White House? No, of course you wouldn't. They don't really mean that. And you're seeing it here, where they don't really mean all this stuff about, trans acceptance or whatever. They're using it. We're going to play that clip from Hinchcliffe coming up, where he refused, the comedian, where he refused to apologize. And it's just great. And he points this out about the Puerto Ricans. He said, you're being used. I'm not apologizing because you're being used. And that's what the left does. They use people. They put them in boxes. They put them in corners. And they say, you are harmed by your existence. And the only arbiter to make it right is government. And we must intercede. And so they're showing all of this with Kate. Look, I didn't say anything I don't disagree with. Bruce Jenner's a dude. You're a man. But the standard that they had set, that they had put forward, says you have to accept that that's a woman. And you're just showing what a complete hypocrite you are. All right, we're going to switch things up when we come back. Kev, we're going to change the template around a little bit. I'm going to play that Hinchcliffe audio because that is gold on his refusal to apologize to the left. Ethan's in for Casey, 93 WIBC.
As the summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-262-1104 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-262-1104. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, what's all this I hear about seasons free things?
Yeah, we're giving away even more than usual this season.
Free alignment with any Ford tire purchase isn't seasonal, Mike. It's free every day at Tire Discounters.
Sure, but right now, guess what else happens every day?
I know that customers can save up to $250 on Michelin tires.
Absolutely. Now, guess what else?
Mike, I'm a Phantom tire buyer with a secret identity. Please don't toy with me.
Okay, here's the deal.
Yes?
We're doing these drawings.
Like a game show.
And one lucky customer per day wins all their money back for 4 tires.
Spectacular! But why call it seasons free things?
You know, season's greetings. It's like a play on words.
Yes, of course it is. I knew that.
It's seasons free things at Tire Discounters. One lucky customer per day wins their money back on tires. Everyone saves big on major brands like Continental. And a free alignment and oil change comes with every Ford tire purchase.
A true partner in your health dedicates time to understanding your needs. At CenterWell Senior Primary Care, doctors make one-on-one time with you a priority, so you can get all your questions answered and feel more confident in your health care. See how it feels to have a team of senior care experts working together to help you feel your best. CenterWell, it's about time. Schedule a tour today at meetcenterwell.com. That's meetcenterwell.com.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Bill Klontz Heating and Cooling, where there's a new owner, Danny Polson, who's excited to keep up the tradition of putting the customer first.
With our merger of Bill Klontz Heating and Cooling and P&K Plumbing, our ultimate goal is to provide great customer service at a reasonable price while also providing a great product. If we see a smile on the customer's face at the end of the job, then we know we did our job right.
Just go to BillKlontz.com, CLONTZ. Bill Klontz Heating and Cooling is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You okay?
Sorry, I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Coming up in 2 minutes, a lot of high-level pro golfers are going to be in Indianapolis next summer, plus where a man was shot to death overnight and how the undefeated Indiana Hoosier football team is faring among the other teams vying for the college football playoff. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Back in D.C., I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President-elect Trump is in Washington to meet with House Republicans and then with President Biden at the White House, his first time there since leaving office. He says he'll nominate Fox News host Pete Hegseth as defense secretary.
Republican House Armed Services Committee Chairman Mike Rogers of Alabama says he doesn't know much about Hegseth, but says he's looking forward to meeting him. Washington Congressman Adam Smith, the top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, says
the lack of experience is concerning.
Some Republicans are expressing confidence in President-elect Trump's decision-making.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz, Fox's Jared Halpert on Trump plans to make government smaller.
President-elect Trump says Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, a one-time rival for the Republican nomination, will lead a newly named Department of Government Efficiency. In a statement, the president-elect says the pair will work to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies. A new federal department would need congressional approval, but President-elect Trump says Musk and Ramaswamy will provide advice and guidance outside of government and partner with the White House and Office of Management and Budget. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Senate Republicans are electing a new leader this morning.
Republican senators will vote in private. Florida Senator Rick Scott has led a public campaign for the position, and many in the president-elect's inner circle support him. Senators John Thune and John Cornyn have been pitching fellow Republicans in private.
Fox's Rich Edson, Mitch McConnell stepping down after a record 17 years as party leader. Special counsel Jack Smith says he'll wrap up his criminal investigations and resign before Inauguration Day. Those two cases about election interference and mishandling classified documents are going away with President-elect Trump returning to office. There will still be reports on the investigation to be made public. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
High-level golf coming to central Indiana. Radar is clear. It's sunny and 44 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The Live Golf Tour is coming to Westfield.
This will be so unique for central Indiana and certainly Westfield that we think there'll be a huge draw, not only from the local area, but nationally as well.
Westfield Mayor Scott Willis on WYBC's Tony Katz. The tour plans to play its individual regular season finale at Chatham Hills in August 2025. Willis expects roughly 30,000 people to attend and pump about $25 million into the Westfield economy. The principal of Hamilton Heights High School has died after a long health battle. The school district says that Jared Mason had been taken to the hospital last week and they would not say what was ailing him, but the district had said that he was showing signs of improvement. But on Tuesday, Mason passed away. A man shot and killed on the east side of Indy early this morning.
Currently, the only thing that we know for sure is that this residence or this person was targeted, but we don't know why at this present time.
Captain Don Weilhammer with IMPD. It happened in the neighborhood of near 16th and Shadeland. 3 cars were involved in a fatal crash in Shelby County over the weekend. Harrison Silcox.
Ford Focus had stopped on the eastbound lanes of State Road 44 in order to turn onto a county road when they were hit from behind by a Chevy Tahoe. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office says the wreck pushed that Focus into the westbound lanes, where they were hit by a third vehicle. A 6-year-old died in the crash. Several other passengers were sent to the hospital for treatment of injuries. The Shelby County Sheriff's Department is still investigating. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A young Hoosier is making national headlines after being elected coroner in Scott County at the age of 19. Brighton Ritchie ran for the role after working in a funeral home in Scottsburg. Well, he ran in the primary and then in the general election unopposed. The Indiana football Hoosiers are ranked 5th in the latest college football playoff rankings, with that now being the new playoff and how it'll work out. That would put IU as the 7 seed facing Alabama in the first round. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Lynn just hates painting in the fall, so she called Rhino Shield.
It is a single-wide manufactured home. We moved from our home, which we had the Rhino Shield on. Rhino Shield was what we were going to do. That was no question. We knew we were going to do it.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating. It's not paint, it's better.
The Rhino Shield representative came, and we discussed what we wanted done. And this time, we had the roof done as well.
Formulated for our specific climate here in Indy and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty.
We truly believe in this product.
Now get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield is partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer no payments until 2026 for qualified buyers. Here's Rhino Shield Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Tony Hinchcliffe apologizes to no one, and I love everything about this. It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan Hatcher from Saturday Night on the Circle in for Casey. Kev is back. You know, you and I have talked about this many times, Ethan, over the years. One of the major mistakes that people make in our society is they apologize for doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
They give leverage and they give legitimacy to ridiculous people, and they run their lives around people who aren't going to like them no matter what they do, what those people think. And I've never understood. I've long said this to my friends who are in politics or government or whatever. Did you mean what you said? If the answer is yes, then you aren't sorry for it. Why would you say you're sorry for it?
Stand by it.
Right.
Absolutely.
And too often in our society, the oftentimes woke, angry mob, which is looking for some place to take their vengeance, and I think that's the thing that people need to realize is, and I've long used this example, leftism is like Pac-Man. And in the game Pac-Man, the character has to keep eating, right? That's the premise of the game. It just eats the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And that's what leftism is. It must keep eating. It must move from one thing to the next. It must find from one person to the next, or one cause to the next, of people who in their mind have been totally mistreated or abused or insulted or whatever. And then you need them to intervene on your behalf because you're incapable of doing it on your own.
So does this mean that the Republicans in the analogy are the ghosts, Inky, Pinky, Blinky, and what was the fourth one?
Well, and so Tony Hinchcliffe, he's a comedian. He was made obviously national news in the build up to the election. He was at that huge event for Trump at Madison Square Garden, Puerto Rico, for those of you who don't know, I know we've said this before, we have new listeners all the time. Puerto Rico, and it was well documented in major media publications across this country, has a serious issue with their garbage. Like there's just garbage floating on boats, on pallets. I mean, they have a serious issue with disposing of their garbage. All of these liberal media outlets have covered this. There's a famous photo of all of these liberal media outlets who have covered the very serious garbage issue that has plagued Puerto Rico for quite some time.
Because landfills are over capacity. There's only so much room in the physical earth with which to stuff your garbage, and now they have to incinerate it or crush it or do whatever with it in order to alleviate the problem. But
That's correct. And so Hinchcliffe gets up at this Trump event and he tells this joke about Puerto Rico being a garbage country. It was clearly made in reference to what the mainstream national media had covered on multiple occasions about the garbage issue in Puerto Rico. And of course, because the left, they knew they couldn't win on their own. They were looking for some reason for people to be outraged. And remember, there were all these reporters going, oh, millions of Puerto Ricans, millions of Hispanics are going to turn against Trump. Now, it probably cost him. It was like, there's not one single solitary person, if they're being honest, who is casting their vote based on a joke told by Tony Hinchcliffe. They wouldn't have even done it if the joke had been told by Trump, much less Tony Hinchcliffe. Nobody, and yet the media wanted you to believe this comedian is somehow going to sink the entire Trump campaign with his
He's going to shift the dial. I saw people desperately sharing graphs of searches on Google that spiked how to change your vote just because supposedly that this joke was told. And it's like, no, that's a bunch of crap. That was as much crap as the people who said Iowa's going to flip Democrats.
Same thing, right? So Tony Hinchcliffe, obviously, he's one of the most famous comedians in the world. That is his shtick. That's his thing, is he roasts everyone. And I believe this must have been maybe his first live event since that appearance at Madison Square Garden, and he handled it perfectly. Kev, I hope you bleeped this. Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, last night I gave a speech. I don't know if you've heard about this. It was a speech about free speech, believe it or not. And I'm currently under attack. I'm the news. I don't know if you guys know this, but on my speech on free speech, I referenced Puerto Rico, which currently has a landfill problem in which all of their landfills are filled to the brim. I guess I'm the only person that knew about this, unfortunately. And with that said, I just want to say that I love Puerto Ricans. They're very smart people. They're smart, they're street smart, and they're smart enough to know when they're being used as political fodder. And right now, that is happening. And I apologize to absolutely nobody. Not to the Puerto Ricans.
Keep going.
Not to the whites.
Keep going.
Not to the blacks.
Yeah.
Not to the Palestinians. Not to the Jews. And not to my own mother, who I made fun of during the set. Nobody clipped that. No headlines about me making fun of my own mother. Perhaps that venue at that time wasn't the best place to do this set at. But in any matter, to the mainstream media and to everybody trying to slander me online, that's what I do. I go hard, and that's never going to change.
He's a roast comedian. It's literally the job description. He's telling you, in the same segment, he's also making fun of his mother. And yes, it was deceptively edited because that's what the left does. They like to take things completely out of context and then assail your entire character on the basis of this 30-second clip that means nothing. And in this case, they were caught red-handed. I love that you selected this clip and Tony Hinchcliffe's rebuttal of the woke mob because, yeah, that's how you have to respond. Shut them down.
Never, ever, ever give in. And, you're never going to make these people happy anyway. Nope. They're not your friend. They don't like you. And so good on him. He pointed it all out. And by the way, it's like Chappelle, right? Remember with Chappelle with the trans stuff? Chappelle's like, I'm the most famous comedian in the world. I'm not sorry for any of this.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, don't come to my show. It appears we don't have any problem with everyone coming to my show based on I sell out everywhere I go, and I have these specials. And, I told somebody this throughout this election cycle because people kept asking me during the election cycle. They're like, what do you want? I said, I want anything other than I want to watch the government burn. And I said, the most dangerous person in any situation is the person who doesn't want anything. In your life, if you don't want something, if you feel free and you feel liberated to do or say whatever you want, and there's nothing anybody's going to hold over your head because there's nothing to dangle, you are the most dangerous person in any room because there's no leverage against you. And so for a Hinchcliffe or for a Dave Chappelle, there's nothing you're going to hold over them. Oh, you don't come to my show. Well, somebody else will buy that ticket. Oh, I don't get to be on Netflix anymore. Okay, I'll go somewhere else. But, of course, like Netflix didn't cancel Dave Chappelle because they want the money. They want the views. They want the eyeballs. They want the revenue, right? So these guys are handling it exactly right. Never give in to these people. Never say you're sorry unless you actually are sorry. But if you are sorry, why'd you say it to begin with?
Never give up. Never surrender.
All right, so we have a consensus on this show, right, Kev? I'm going to get you in on this. By the way, Kev is back from his brother's wedding. You did the toast. You did not embarrass yourself. Is that correct?
No, everything went perfectly.
We had small wagers here on how liquored up you were going to be during your brother's wedding and how you would embarrass not only yourself but your entire family. But you said you made it through the toast completely sober.
Yeah, I didn't drink anything before the toast. I mean, I had a couple sips of beer in the morning when we were getting ready for the wedding, but I made an executive decision to wait till after the speech to get liquored up.
That's very smart, and I'm sure everybody was very proud of you. We thought you'd be like Steve Buscemi in The Wedding Singer, the best man, the better man, but you pulled it off. So I'm going to bring you in for this, and Ethan, you're in on this one as well, because you both are not married. I don't notice people's appearances anymore. Are we in agreement that Anna Paulina Luna is the best assembled person in the House of Representatives?
Yes.
Oh, no. No. That woman from Colorado.
Boebert.
Yeah, Boebert. Lauren Boebert.
I
she
think
takes the
she's
cake.
more attractive.
Lauren is definitely more.
Anna Paulina.
Okay. Can we say that
I'm Boebert, Team Boebert here?
Okay, look, you two. Can we just agree that she's in a top 5 of the best assembled people in the United States Congress? Can we agree with that? Okay, very good.
Not hard to do when you're sharing it with a lot of aged elderly men.
Well, that's true. Like, I mean, when Jerry Nadler is your competition, it really isn't all that hard to eclipse. So she's a U.S. rep from Florida. She is probably best known as the chick who posed in the Trump bikinis, or swimsuits or whatever. But anyway, she was on with Benny Johnson. He's a blogger, an internet podcaster. He's got a huge presence on Twitter, and she was talking about the plan in this upcoming Congress to get they call it the Diddy list, right? The list of names that were associated with P. Diddy released. This is fascinating to me.
The American people deserve to know what virtue signaling freaks exist in Hollywood, and I think I posted that. But aside from that, we actually have a hearing tomorrow on UAPs. I know specifically in regards to if Rubio is the Secretary of State, he's actually been a huge advocate in declassification of that. But I think that if you look at the world, if you look at the galaxies in just a bigger picture, I don't see how there's not life on other planets. I'll just leave it at that. But you guys have to tune into the hearing tomorrow. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Okay. And the FBI is holding tight to those Diddy list names and those Epstein names.
No, I think that's going to be declassified. Here's the reasoning for it, right? You had a lot of people that were trafficked. There's a criminal aspect to this of people that were actually hurt,
yes.
Whether or not they were minors.
Yes.
I think that's incredibly important, but I've been a huge advocate for why is it that these people, because of money, are given special treatment when you have a normal person that would have to register on a watch list in their state if they were convicted of a violent crime against children or just a violent crime in general for sexual assault, whatever it might be. These people deserve no special treatment. We are in America. We're not in the UK where people are given rank and title. Okay. And so that's exactly how I view that. That needs to be declassified.
I've been hearing this for years with the Epstein stuff, and it never does. And I've been hearing this about Roswell for years, and I've been hearing this about Kennedy for years, and it just seems like it never actually happened.
Well, hold on just one second. Roswell is a lot different from Epstein. Epstein actually happened, I mean, there was an Epstein island.
You don't believe in the aliens at Roswell?
I would like to believe, just for fun, but there's zero evidence. You can't believe in something.
Kev, were there aliens at Roswell? Clarify this, because I'm a believer.
I believe there were.
Yeah, thank you. But you're out. No. That's a government hoax.
We would have
weather balloon.
We would have gotten the little bits of alien hardware out in the public by now if it really happened. Look, I would be thrilled if it did, but I don't think so.
Okay, so okay, then let's remove Roswell. We could talk about Epstein. We can talk about Kennedy. You're always hearing that these things are going to be released, and it seems like they never actually do get released.
But it would be great if they were, because obviously I think the Epstein Island and the Diddy. She's absolutely right. There are real people who were harmed in those exchanges.
All right, let's take a break. Ethan's in for Casey today. When we come back, so Indiana passed a law that took into effect earlier this year that would have required you to upload some form of identification in order to view adult film websites in this state. And it's gone through a long legal process, and now there are some new breaking developments in this. I still don't totally understand this. So, Ethan, I'm going to ask you to help me understand the Indiana porn law and the various lawsuits around it when we come back. Are you up for that task?
Fantastic. I think we can handle
Notice
that.
how excited he was to do that. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
The colors of fall.
Orange cone zone. Orange cones all over the place. This time on the north side.
Orange.
Orange barrels are up, restricting the far left lane and then switching to the right lane.
And orange.
Orange, you glad that I didn't say orange again? That's a little traffic humor.
When the colors of fall have you seen red, orange.
If I never see orange again.
Turn to Matt Baird Traffic. Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
One of the real advantages that we have here at Hendricks is the scope of the services that we have to offer in orthopedics.
Whether they have a hip fracture or they're a high-functioning athlete, we're all working towards the same thing.
To have them be able to have an elective surgery safely and then go home also in a safe fashion is of utmost importance.
We very much want everyone to get back to doing everything that they're doing beforehand. We're really invested in it.
Unstoppable orthopedic care. Learn more at hendricks.org/ortho.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers' rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM, 866-549-TERM.
Royal Spa hot tubs are simply better. Come into any of our locations and make the salesperson prove the superiority of the Royal Spa product.
Royal Spa.
So what right does does the government have to police what you do in your own home? And there's a fascinating case in Indiana right now that's trying to determine just that. It's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan Hatcher is in for Casey. So Indiana Capitol Chronicle had an article about this law that, well, I guess it's now in effect. It went into effect, and then a judge struck it down, and then an appeals court, I think, put it back into effect, which allowed the state to force you to upload proof of identification in order to view adult-oriented content websites.
Correct.
And now, look, there are multiple conflicting rulings from various courts across this country. It is believed the Supreme Court's going to take this up and rule on it. And there's this lawsuit going on between the state and these porn websites. And the porn websites are saying, hey, wait a second. Why don't we just wait to see what the Supreme Court rules? If the Supreme Court rules in our favor, this is all a moot point. Todd Rokita and the Attorney General's office want no part of that. They're trying to go through discovery with these guys. And to me, the greater question continues to be, it's not whether society has a vested interest in ensuring that young people don't view pornography. They certainly do. It's very harmful, especially to young people. The greater question is, does the state have the right to mandate how you live your life in your own home? And does the state have the right to mandate you live your life in a certain way because they don't believe people are effectively parenting their kids?
I think this issue is a little bit of a moot point. I was surprised that the appeals court overturned the initial stay on the ruling, because my understanding is that this has been adjudicated many times, and it's come in favor of the pornography industry in a variety of ways, that this does in fact fall under the purview of freedom of speech, and then also the freedom of, or the privacy of information, because yes, you shouldn't have to be reported to some kind of website for verification to view pornographic materials at your own privacy,
like
the privacy of your own home.
Like, I have a child. She's obviously not anywhere near old enough to use a computer or anything like that, but someday she will be. But it's not your responsibility or Kevin's responsibility. The things, and I'm not saying you guys choose to do this, but if you choose to do it, it's not your responsibility to have to go through hurdles out of fear that I won't effectively parent my kid in a manner the state says is efficient.
Correct.
That's my job. My job is to parent my kid. It's my job as a responsible adult to ensure that she has a quality of life. Like, my kid has been under the weather the past 3 days. It's really changed the way my wife and I have had to operate. She hasn't been able to go to daycare. We didn't go to you and go, Ethan, hey, you're really going to need to alter your entire day because Livy's not feeling well, and, well, it's going to interfere in our day. No, we chose to have children. We chose to have a child. It's our job to parent that child. And you or Kevin, who are still having fun and living life and the joys that come with not being a parent and being completely single. No, in all seriousness, being a parent is the greatest job you'll ever have. But my point is, like, we're not asking you to be inconvenienced or rearrange your existence because my kid is not feeling well.
No, and then the other thing to bring up is that there are a litany of tools at your disposal if you are a parent, and that is your primary concern, is whether children or not have access to this illicit material, which I agree they should not. But there are various programs and locks and controls and blocks and things that can, ensure on your personal PC that those you don't want to have access to that material don't have access.
Yeah, and the other part of this is what our legislators are spending their time on. They're not helping you with your property taxes. They're not getting in on the gas tax. They're not regulating the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. They're not figuring out how to plug this $1 billion Medicaid shortfall. They spent a great deal of time this past legislative session on making consenting, law-abiding adults who have the right to view what they want to view in the privacy of their own home, making that more difficult for them.
Government can't legislate morality, and anytime they try, it creates an enormous headache for the citizens.
Here's the other thing that's going to be fascinating to me, and obviously this is going to be decided at the Supreme Court. And this is what I don't understand what the legal argument is on this. So if you scroll through Twitter right now, you can see, or Instagram or whatever, a whole bunch of stuff that certainly on Twitter that the average person will look at and go, that is pornography.
Yeah.
Like through your feed, depending on what your algorithm is, whatever. You see that on a social media website. You can see them on Reels or whatever on the Facebook. It'll pop up. I don't understand how legally you can require one company, or companies in this case, plural, to behave in a certain manner, yet you are exposed to that thing on Twitter, and that's okay, and you don't have to do that in order to view Twitter.
Well, I think you're cutting to one of the many issues with a law like that, and it is unfair in the business practices that, yes, you're discriminating against one company and one form of production, but not another that has or carries and hosts the same materials.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, have you seen this guy that Trump picked to be the Secretary of Defense? Oh, this is perfect. Between him and the Homan guy, I am already loving this second Trump term. We're going to tell you all about him when we come back. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC. $182,000. According to CBS News, the average American loses out on an average of $182,000 in Social Security income. And it's because they filed for their benefits at the wrong time. Learn how you could avoid this with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. We trust Bill to help us with planning for our retirement, and you can too. This free analysis could help you get the most income from Social Security while considering the impact on your spousal benefits, taxes, IRA, and 401k withdrawals, and Medicare premiums. If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis by calling 317-932-9912. Don't lose $182,000 in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Call Bill Demery at 317-932-9912. That's 317-932-9912.
It's a bully that will not let up until you do something about it. And the worst part is that the bullying happens when you're at your most vulnerable. You might as well have your hands tied behind your back while that bully puts one hand over your mouth and pinches your nose with the other. He'll let up, let you catch your breath, and then he'll do it again. Sleep apnea is a bully. Not long ago, we heard our friend John tell you about how his bully was stopping his breathing in his sleep over 145 times an hour. Think about what that can do to your body's organs. It's no wonder that the snowball effects of long-term obstructive sleep apnea are heart disease, stroke, even depression and anxiety. But this problem is solvable, and we have solutions, and you'll be surprised at how simple they are.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. It's time to put that bully in his place. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The predecessor meets the successor. It's 46 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. President Biden is hosting President-elect Trump at the White House today. The two are meeting in the Oval Office. They are getting together comes as Trump is working to fill key posts in his upcoming administration. The nation's 45th president is set to take office as the nation's 47th president on January 20th. Senate Republicans will be electing a new leader of the party in the upper chamber today.
It's a secret ballot between John Thune, John Cornyn, and Rick Scott. 27 is the magic number. The winning candidate needs an outright majority of all Republicans voting. If no candidate scores a majority, they go to a second ballot. Senators who will be members next year get to vote. That includes senators-elect, and J.D. Vance can vote. He's still a senator. He does not become vice president until next year.
Fox's Chad Pergram. There are 3 new inductees into the National Toy Hall of Fame. Toys to be enshrined this year include My Little Pony, the Phase 10 card game, and Transformers. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code KIND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code KIND for a 25 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Enroll at healthcare.gov by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Did you get a heating and air conditioning quote that you're just not sure of? Give us a call for a free second opinion.
317-577-8077 for Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
The Secretary of Defense pick by Trump is just, it's awesome. It's awesome, and it's part of a theme coming out of this, what it will be this incoming administration. It is Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan Hatcher from Saturday Night on the Circle, and for Casey, Kev is here. So Pete Hegseth is the pick to be Secretary of Defense, and one of the things, whether it's Tom Homan with the border czar, or now this pick, or some of these others, I think you're seeing a very clear tone from Donald Trump, a very clear message from Donald Trump that he is not screwing around, and we got a finite amount of time to get this stuff done, and I am putting people in there that are ready to kick butt and take names.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't terribly familiar with Pete Hegseth until this announcement, and I did a little bit of looking into stances he's made in the past, and this guy honestly sounds perfect for the position that he has been chosen for. He has railed against wokeness and DEI policies in the military. He has, routinely castigated them for weakening the strength of American military might. I think this is probably a good pick for exactly what Trump has him in mind for. I'm excited. Well, I also think it's important, and you had mentioned this while we were talking before the segment started, in that it's an out-of-the-box pick. Yeah. And I think that Americans are really looking for that, especially in this election cycle.
Yeah, and people are, he picked a Fox News guy because he likes Fox News. No, he's on Fox News right now. The guy's a decorated war veteran. He went to Princeton and Harvard. He actually played basketball at Princeton. They made the NCAA tournament. The guy, now he does have a somewhat interesting personal life, but that aside.
So does Trump.
Well, right. I mean, that's not going to disqualify you from the Trump administration. But in terms of, look, the military has been gutted from a morale standpoint because let's face it, there are a certain type of people you want in the armed forces.
Yes.
There are certain types of people you don't want in the armed forces. And because we're so woke or PC or whatever you want to call it, that we're afraid to say now, I don't want you in the armed forces. I do want you. I do want people like you, but I don't want that person in the armed forces. And this guy, and look, I think that's why you've seen a decline in enrollment and certainly in morale and people wanting to be there, because we don't value as a society and our military the way we used to collectively. I mean, look, obviously there's many people out there. I think everybody here at this radio station loves our military, but we don't put those people on a pedestal like we used to. And we have diluted what it means to be in the military. When you see these trans people and everything else, like, let's face it, you need alpha males to run your military. And that has been true since the dawn of time. You need alpha males running your military, making choices, being on the front lines. That is the most effective way to run a military.
When you're in the heat of battle, when you're taking fire, when there are shells exploding around you, you do not have time to ask for people's pronouns.
That's right.
Sorry, it's incompatible.
So here's a little bit of audio from this guy, because he is just going to be absolutely perfect for this. This is totally why Trump picked him. And Kev, hope you bleep this. Here we go.
There's a chance to course correct it, but it would take the new Trump administration going after it really hard.
How would they correct it?
Well, first of all, you got to fire. You got to fire the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and you got to fire this. I mean, obviously, you're going to bring in a new Secretary of Defense, but any general that was involved, general, admiral, whatever that was involved in any of the DEI woke, it's got to go. Either you're in for war fighting, and that's it, and that's the only litmus test we care about. You got to get DEI and CRT out of military academies, so you're not training young officers to be baptized in this type of thinking. And then, whatever the standards, whatever the combat standards were, say, in, 1995, let's just make those the standards. And as far as recruiting, to hire the guy that, did Top Gun Maverick and create some real ads that motivate people to want to serve. And there's lots of other ways in which you could identify who gets promoted and what, but there's an ethos change. I mean, there's a reason people don't want to serve, because they don't trust that their senior leaders are going to have their best interest in mind in combat. I know there were mistakes made on our tours all over the place, but I, at least for the most part, had a sense that my senior leaders were committed to the completion of the mission for the right reasons. And maybe there were strategic differences and all that other stuff, and it wasn't always perfect, but that trust is broken, and you have to reestablish that trust by putting in no-nonsense warfighters in those positions who aren't going to cater to the socially correct garbage.
Yeah, he's spot on. So the U.S. military should not be babysitters. I've said this about all these ill-begotten foreign wars. They're not trained to be babysitters. They're not trained to be your friend. They're not trained to care about you. The U.S. military should be trained killing machines, the greatest trained killing machines in the world. When you go somewhere, that is what you're there to do. You do it to the best of your ability. You do it, you get out, you move on. And he is spot on with what this military has become under the Biden administration, and he's going to have a big task trying to get people enthused about being a part of the U.S. military again.
Well, let's also not discount the shift that took place under the Bush administration when they shifted their focus from shooting things and breaking stuff to nation building.
Yeah, you're right.
That is not the job of the military. They're certainly not there to build your country for you.
You're right. No, 100%. And that's why I said you're not babysitters. And my generation, and I have so many friends who went overseas and fought in Iraq and in Afghanistan who saw that, and they lost loved ones and friends, and people came home differently. And I think if you look at that entire Bush administration through Obama up in the lead up of Trump, which got us out basically of all these military conflicts, you'd say, what did we gain by having all those people there? Like, what did you, if you fought in Afghanistan or you fought in Iraq, and thank you for your service and thank you for being willing to risk, but if you're honest with yourself, what do you feel society gained by them having you there? And thank you for selflessly going wherever you were told to go. And I'm in no way pinning this on the people who went. I'm saying I would have a hard time if I came home feeling like this, World War II, right? You say, we saved the world. Yeah. We stopped the Nazis. It had to be done. I think you look at Iraq and Afghanistan, and obviously that continued long under Bush into Obama, and you say, what were we doing? What was that all about? Trump got us out of all of that. And then you had 4 years of Biden just putting nonsensical people in these positions of leadership.
I think if you were one of the several thousand Gold Star families who lost the life of a loved one in Afghanistan over the 20 years that we were there, it would be hard for you to say that sacrifice was worth it when you look at how the Biden administration completely fumbled the ball, and within a couple weeks the Taliban had completely retaken control.
Yeah, you're right.
Was it worth it?
Real quick, I wanted to play this. One of my new favorite things, Ethan, is on Twitter finding the liberal white women who are just losing their minds over Trump getting elected.
Thousands of them.
And their videos that they're posting on the internet. I had this conversation yesterday with a somewhat high-profile politician, and we were chuckling about the idea that we have lost track in our society of the inability to not hit send. Like the inability of somebody to go, what is the real win out of this? And what am I accomplishing by posting this to the world? And these people, where the internet is forever, and clearly they're suffering from some sort of affliction of some sort, the fact that they're posting it to begin with, they're just fodder and humor for me now. Here is the latest. This liberal woman is very, very upset over immigration.
So your lawn maintenance is about to skyrocket because 90% of workers in the lawn maintenance industry, they come from Mexico. And whether they're here legally or not, Stephen Miller, who Trump's going to put in charge of his mass deportation project, is going to deport them. They're also going to deport people who are naturalized citizens. These are jobs that Americans will not do, okay? American families are not letting their young adults work in the lawn maintenance industry. These companies may be owned by Americans, but their employees are from Mexico. So not only will it be harder to find a company, the prices are going to double and triple. And this is going to affect a lot of other industries. It's going to affect our food supply and the housing industry, because I don't know if you know this, but there's not a lot of Americans lining up to haul cement in and out of buildings. So good luck.
I haul cement in and out of buildings. I do that myself. What's she even talking about?
Yes,
that racist tirade is hysterical, and I love when liberals have just enough rope to hang themselves with, because she's telling you the quiet part out loud. Leftists think that Mexicans are lawnmowers and cabbage pickers.
Thank you. I'm so glad you went there with that. Yes, I worked for a construction crew in college. I worked for a tree removal service in college. They're great college jobs. I've yet to see this mass movement of refusing to let young people work in the tree removal or lawn care or construction industry.
My brother ran a lawn care business and a lawn service business. My best friend grew up working for a landscaping company that was founded by a Caucasian man. What is this nonsense? All your lawn care service providers are Mexicans and illegals, apparently. That is.
Isn't that great too? That like she's admitting, yeah, we totally screwed them over and pay them less than everyone else, and that's fine. But if you want to say, hey, you probably shouldn't be in the country illegally, well, then you're the bad guy in the equation. Totally treating these people like indentured servants, that's okay in her book. But hey, if we say, man, you kind of haven't come in here legally, you got to go back and start over again. Well, that makes you the bad guy.
The left is just peachy, Rob.
All right, Hammer's going to join us next. Ethan's in for Casey, 93 WIBC.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-917-8730. 800-917-8730. 800-917-8730. That's 800-917-8730.
I've been a loyal Window Nation customer for a number of years now, been saving money on my energy bills. In fact, experts are saying heating costs are going to increase up to 23% this winter, and that's why you need Window Nation windows, which, by the way, are 50% off.
I'm a Window Nation customer, and with this deal, you can be a Window Nation customer. 0% interest for 5 years, but you got to hustle. This deal ends November 30th. 866-90-NATION. Call today or go to windownation.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When an injured worker left me a message that said, "You probably won't call me back, I'm just a nobody," I called him right back. Nobody's a nobody, and no one deserves a better firm than you.
He calls to tell me that he's been in an accident, and I'm just scared to death.
I couldn't have hoped for anybody better than Morgan & Morgan. It makes you feel like you're worth something.
It really did feel like family.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The holidays are a magical time to get engaged. At Shane Company, we're here to help you create your dream engagement ring in just 3 easy steps. Choose a setting that speaks to your style. Compare diamonds and colorful gemstones in all shapes and sizes. Then personalize it with a decorative crown and special engraving. Or choose a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, you'll find everyday competitive prices, a no-pressure environment, and an unmatched free lifetime warranty. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Have you compared your options during Medicare open enrollment? Plans change each year, and so can your health. That's why it's so important to compare this year and make sure your drugs are covered. At Medicare.gov, you can easily compare all your options. Find a better plan, save some money, or both. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
In the fight against lung cancer, it's game on, game strong. Franciscan Health leads the way with robotic technology to find and treat cancer sooner. Our entire team of multidisciplinary experts let cancer know it's hard to play against us. Franciscan Health is changing the game for lung cancer patients. Schedule a consultation or second opinion today. Visit franciscanhealth.org/lung cancer care.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra is making its way back to Gamebridge Fieldhouse on December 19th with an all-new show, The Lost Christmas Eve Tour. For tickets and more information, head to WIBC.com.
It is the season to party, and this season to party, you could book us for your party.
Sounds something like Kamala Harris would say. The children of the community are the children of the community.
I, too, what is it Austin Powers said? Allow myself to introduce myself. Hey, it's Jason Hammer. Hello.
Hello. Again, as the calendar has shifted to November, we're just on the cusp of Christmas season and all that good stuff. What a great time to go to the Hammer and Nigel Show merchandise store and get that special someone in your house that's a Hammer and Nigel fan, a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat, a pint glass, whatever. And if you hate us, maybe you could buy the Guy Relford t-shirt.
That's right.
If you hate Rob Kendall, there's a t-shirt for that.
And the great thing about buying my stuff is I don't get any money out of it. All my money goes to Project Rescue, and I actually just gave the church just a check for that the other day. And so you can tell everyone you hate me and I don't get anything out of it.
Exactly. So store.hammerandnigel.com. We've got some new holiday items up there as well. Merry Christmas to everyone except CNN. There's a t-shirt that says Die Hard is a Christmas movie. You can end all the arguments. And the Donald Trump Terminator I'm back shirt.
I love that. All right. And so you and I have started a new venture as well. We've gotten many, many correspondence on this already. We're opening ourselves up to be available for your big event.
I believe Deuce Bigelow called it man-whoring. And yes, we're going out to the community. We have gone to graduation open houses. We've been to a wedding reception. So if you want Rob and I to crash your event for a very fair price, Rob and I will show up and we'll bring it.
Oh, yeah.
We'll bring the energy. I might bring the beer bong. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we are for hire. Real life cameo.
That's right. That's what it is. It's real life cameo. And the reason we did this is we've done that graduation party and we did that wedding, and the response was so great. I said, we should not be giving this away. We should not just be giving our time away. That's been fun. But you know, you have a holiday party, you have a magician or a band or a whatever. We're going to be infinitely better than whatever you're going to book, and you're going to get a better value. It's going to be a better price.
We'll argue with your crazy lunatic aunt that thinks that democracy is coming to an end, or we'll have a party with the people wearing the red MAGA hats. Anything and in between, man. We are down to clown.
Hammer and Nigel at WIBC.com is the email if you'd like to send us your information. Hammer and Nigel at WIBC.com. We've gotten several already. We'll break it down. We'll get you a price. And look, I'll tell you what, I think this is a great bargain. Like, think about your New Year's Eve party or your Christmas party. You've got Rob and Hammer there. We'll talk politics. We'll roast your friends. We'll do whatever. Even if you just say, I need some friends for a Sunday Colts game. If the fee's right, we'll come over to your house and sit and watch the Colts game with you.
We'll be your escort to a fancy event. Now, we're both going, so you'll have us on each arm.
That's right.
Right? Yes,
yeah, I mean, it's 2024.
Happening.
We can pull that off. Ethan, you have some sort of, record event, record player society that you're a part of. What are those things called?
Oh, the Hoosier Antique Phonograph Society?
Yeah, perfect. Who would be better to be the key?
You have a record player event.
Who would be better to be the entertainment for the record player?
He's part of like the oldest group imaginable, but somehow you sounded older right there. What's this record player thing that you're doing?
No, if I put the needle here, is this thing going to play?
Oh, by the way, great moments in record player history. So we recently just cleaned out the garage and the big basement at our house. Again, used to be my wife's mother's house, and we've been trying to declutter ever since we
got a big
moved
bin.
in.
Got the
huge trash bin, which we only had to, shoo away a couple bums from digging into. But Crystal, my wife, the coupon lady, found a toy from when she was real little. It was a Smurfs record player.
Oh, yeah.
So we got it out and was like, there's no way this works anymore, right? And she still has the 45 on it from when she had as a kid.
Oh, wow.
It was Tony Basil's Hey Mickey. So we did a video where we plugged it in, and I'll be damned if it still doesn't work.
Isn't that great to think? So that, I'm not trying to date your, put an age date on your wife, but whatever, 40 years ago or whatever. At some
It was
point,
from 1982 was that little record player. She was like 4 or 5 years old.
So think about that. At some point, she played that for the last time, and she was like, this will never be played again for 42 years. And to be able to plug it back in and for it to go, that's awesome.
Whether it's record players, whether it's houses, and I feel like Ethan can back me up on here, stuff was just made better back in the day, right?
Yes. If you think it's impressive to play one of those machines from the 1980s, I've got machines from the 1920s or early, like 1902, and you crank those things up, put the needle down, and it still makes sound. Yes, things were built better back in the day.
Ethan, because I've been to your house, and you have a massive collection, one of the best in the country, I would guess.
Let's not go that far. Not even one of the best in the state, believe it or not.
I mean, I didn't know whether to be impressed or alarmed by how many record players that you have. Now, when you bring a woman over to your crib, like, do you bust that out right away? Look at my record player collection. Do you build up to that?
Is it an aphrodisiac or repellent?
There's nothing. You can't hide it, Rob. As soon as they walk in the door, there's 50 of the machines strewn around the house.
Right.
So
let's say you guys go out for a crazy night of drinking, and she comes back to your house, and she's ready to go, and she's ripping your clothes off. Then she sees 50 phonographs. Oh, I got a thing.
Okay. Hammer. Rob,
yes.
You see me. You see what I wear.
Yeah.
Any woman who who is willing to talk to me after that already knows what they're in for. Okay?
What's coming up this afternoon?
We're gonna have a good time. Rumors of a round of cameo prices, right?
Hey!
And biggest stories of the day, man. We're gonna laugh.
All right, let's take a break. Ethan's in for Casey. When we come back, what are we? Oh my gosh, we've got this great video of an old Obama quote on immigration that's just perfect. We'll talk about that coming up next. Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, what's all this I hear about seasons free things?
Yeah, we're giving away even more than usual this season.
Free alignment with any Ford tire purchase isn't seasonal, Mike. It's free every day at Tire Discounters.
Sure, but right now, guess what else happens every day?
I know that customers can save up to $250 on Michelin tires.
Absolutely. Now, guess what else?
Mike, I'm a phantom tire buyer with a secret identity. Please don't toy with me.
Okay, here's the deal.
Yes?
We're doing these drawings.
Like a game show.
And one lucky customer per day wins all their money back for 4 tires.
Spectacular! But why call it seasons free things?
You know, season's greetings. It's like a play on words.
Yes, of course it is. I knew that.
It's seasons free things at Tire Discounters. One lucky customer per day wins their money back on tires. Everyone saves big on major brands like Continental. And a free alignment and oil change comes with every Ford tire purchase.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama. My office has its ups and downs.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, one thing's for certain. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast, and you can invite your top choices to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, for any kind of office,
I'm really going places in my office.
My office has everything you could ever want.
count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. It's that time again, where we choose who we think is the best candidate for office. It's a difficult decision that requires the evaluation of contenders. Do they have the appropriate skills and experience for this office? Are they the right type of leader? Do they have a clear vision? Selecting the right candidate is no easy feat. That's why, for your office, there's ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes choosing the right candidate for any office easy because they only find and send you the most qualified people for your roles. Best of all, they do it fast. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, while you're thinking about that really big decision, rest assured that any other hiring decision will be much easier when you use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Don't miss the Flying Toasters 20th anniversary celebration Saturday, November 16th at the Paramount Theater in Anderson with special guest 45 RPM. Tickets available at theflyingtoasters.com.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Coming up in 2 minutes, where and when you may get the chance to watch the Live Golf Tour. Plus, why a high school north of Indianapolis is mourning a loss. And Ryan Hedrick reports on why this company chose to move its HQ to Indiana. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
The Conquering Hero. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President-elect Donald Trump returns to D.C. to applause from House Republicans.
Well, thank you very much. This is a very nice gathering. Isn't it nice? It's nice to win. It's always nice to win. A lot of good friends in this room.
This was at a hotel. Next, a meeting at the White House to talk about the transition.
This will be the first Biden-Trump meeting since their debate in June. Biden's rough performance led to Democrats pushing him from the top of the ticket. Today's White House visit is a traditional meeting between incoming and outgoing presidents. Trump never extended Biden an invite in 2020. The White House refuses to say what President Biden will discuss, but that the image of the two presidents together sends a strong enough message.
Fox's Rich Edson. Senate Republicans are behind closed doors voting on a new leader between John Cornyn from Texas, Florida Senator Rick Scott, and John Thune from South Dakota.
Senators who will be members next year get to vote. That includes senators-elect, and J.D. Vance can vote. He's still a senator. He does not become vice president until next year.
Fox's Chad Pergram at the Capitol. Another big public Trump supporter may be joining his cabinet. Fox's Mark Meredith reports.
One of the biggest names dropped overnight, and that is Pete Hegseth, the best-selling author, the Army combat veteran, as well as host right here on Fox. Trump wants him to lead the Department of Defense. Trump writing, Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and for the country. He's tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. Now, a number of senators told our Capitol Hill team overnight that they were shocked and surprised by this pick. If confirmed, Hegseth would lead the federal government's biggest department with its budget estimated to be more than $850 billion.
Hegseth has been on Fox News Channel since 2014. Secretary of State Antony Blinken tells NATO allies the Biden administration will try to shore up support for the alliance and for Ukraine's fight against Russia before President-elect Trump takes office. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Pro golf will take center stage. It's 47 and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. With the Live Golf Tour coming to Chatham Hills in Westfield next year for its regular season finale tournament, Mayor Scott Willis says it came with some caveats.
$250,000 in cash and $250,000 in services. So we'll be providing public safety. We'll have a shuttle service set up.
But he tells WIBC's Tony Katz that with an estimated economic impact of up to $30 million for the three-day event, the city will more than recoup that and then some. The tournament will tee off in August 2025. The principal of Hamilton Heights High School has died after a long health battle. The school district says that Jared Mason had been in the hospital for the last couple of days and that they had not said what had been ailing him, but the district said that he had been showing signs of improvement. But Tuesday, Mason passed away. Lucas Oil has now moved its entire operation to Indiana. Ryan Hedrick.
About 5 years ago, CEO Morgan Lucas and his wife, President Katie Lucas, were thinking about the company's future. Morgan says the move makes sense given California's tough business climate and their deep roots in the Hoosier state.
Our name has proudly been on the stadium for a long time. We believe in the Indianapolis market. We believe in Hoosiers. And my parents, my family are all from here in this state.
The new global headquarters will take up about 70,000 square feet of space at Keystone at the Crossing. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
McDonald's restaurants in Indianapolis are now selling fresh donuts. The fast food chain is partnering with Krispy Kreme, offering all sorts of donuts, either individually or by the half dozen or dozen. In Orlando tonight, the Indiana Pacers look to make it 3 straight wins as they open up NBA Cup play. Head coach Rick Carlisle says he's been thrilled with Benedict Matherin's resurgence.
He's a different fit in our system than the other guys that are out right now. You know, Ben keeps bringing his game closer to the way our team plays.
The Pacers made it to the final of the in-season tournament last year. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
$182,000.
What?
Yeah, $182,000. According to CBS News, the average American loses out on an average of $182,000 in Social Security income. And it's because they filed for their benefits, Rob, at the wrong time.
Learn how you could avoid this with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy.
We trust Bill to help with planning for our retirement, and you can too.
This free analysis could help you get the most income from Social Security while considering the impact on your spousal benefits, taxes, IRAs, and 401k withdrawals, and Medicare premiums.
If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis by calling 317-932-9912.
Don't lose $182,000 in Social Security income that's rightfully yours.
Call 317-932-9912. That's 317-932-9912.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, I think we have now seen a peak in the quest to legalize drugs in this country. 93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. Casey's out today. Ethan Hatcher from Saturday Night on the Circle in for Casey. Kev is back. So interesting article from the Free Press about how poorly drug legalization initiatives did across the country. And a very high-profile one in Florida failed related to marijuana. I think people thought that was going to pass.
Yeah, that one was a surprise.
North and South Dakota had legal weed initiatives that went down. And not only did they go down, they went down They wasn't really close. You had places like even super liberal places like Massachusetts that had a ballot initiative that would legalize psychedelic drugs that went down overwhelmingly. And so it's got me thinking, because it seemed like these were passing regularly either through legislatures or these ballot initiatives, And now it appears that maybe people are looking at other states and what has actually happened there and said, maybe this isn't for us.
Here's my take on the issue, Rob. I don't think, well, first of all, in very conservative states like, North and South Dakota, I don't think it matches their ethos. So it's not a surprise that, legalization would crash and burn there. In states like Florida and then the liberal states on the East Coast, I think that the voters are not rejecting so much the idea of legalization so much as they are rejecting the soft on crime policies that the left embrace that is associated with it. Because, when it comes to, recreational substances, I think that what you do in the privacy of your own home should be allowed. Right. It's not the government's business to police what you choose to put into your body. However, I do think it is the government's business to police your behavior and the negative behaviors that are often associated with that. So you shouldn't be, allowed to shoot up in the gutter. You shouldn't be allowed to break in and break into places, steal what you want, and harass who you wish. But in the states where they do that, or the municipalities like they do that, where in Portland, where they had broad decriminalization, including psychedelics, they also had soft on crime policies that were associated with it. And that's, I think, where the negative reaction is coming from.
There's also a leap, too, between saying, I want legal marijuana in the privacy of my own home and I want psychedelic drugs. I think there's a huge leap.
I think all of these things have to be handled on an individual basis.
And the bigger issue is it's a state-by-state patchwork, and you still have major issues related to things like banking with money, the transactions, because the federal government has yet to do its part in terms of allowing states to be able to create financial hubs by which these things are done and how the money can be deposited and et cetera. And, it's interesting because Hammer was in Florida a couple weeks ago, and obviously they had that huge ballot initiative that failed. And he was saying that one of the things on television that you were seeing all the time was they were saying, like you said, look at Portland, and here's what they have. Do you want to be like Portland? And to the point you made, they were tying it into the overall tarnishment of the cities, the overall tarnishment of the societies, and saying, do you want to end up like these people?
This should not be complicated. It should not be hard. The same level of fear-mongering that is raised about, various, psychedelics or marijuana or other drugs, what have you, is the same fear-mongering that they used about alcohol during the Prohibition era. Look at the social decay and degradation that is caused by the demon liquor. Look at the hordes of men who are abusing their women, and clearly this is caused by the alcohol. So if only we could eliminate all alcohol, then we would eliminate society's ills, and that's not the case. You police the bad behavior, police the men who are abusing their wife, police the drunks who are collapsing in the gutter and harassing other pedestrians as they go about their day. That's what needs to be policed, not just the consumption of alcohol or other drugs.
Well, you and I were having this conversation off air earlier about the condition of the city of Indianapolis. And you were pointing out about this now effort to clean up. Where was it that the city was looking at cleaning up?
The corner, right around the corner from where I live, the northwest corner of the intersection at Washington and Emerson Street. And the Irvington community was utterly distraught that the city was essentially pushing out this homeless encampment that has established itself amongst the brush. But surrounding that, my garage got broken into. Vacant houses were broken into. There were dozens of complaints from the neighbors. They were defecating in the, wonderful scenic creek that flowed through the neighborhood. So, there were health problems, used needles laying around.
You had hit on a good point. And this is the challenge. And when I talk about challenge, Joe Hogsett and this city government don't want to take on any of it. But this is the challenge in dealing with this, in the fact that there are a lot of people who don't want to be helped. Yeah. Like you always say, if we just, but there's a lot of people who don't want to just. They do not want to operate in the confines of decent society because there are rules and there are regulations, and if you put them in a home somewhere, they're going to have to abide by the rules, and they simply don't want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you have such a complex issue of problems when it comes with the homeless community, but you have, of course, the mental component. You have the addiction component. And then, you do have the individuals who just don't interface with civilized society, but that doesn't mean you have to tolerate the bad behavior.
Yeah, Abdul and I talked about this years ago. This may have been Hogsett's first term that we were talking about this. There's really, you can't universally tackle this issue because there's really three types of people. There's legitimate homeless person, there's panhandler, and there's drugged out zombie guy. I mean, those are the three. If you walk on the circle at any given time, you'll see a mixture of those three, and you have to deal with each one of them differently.
And Mr. Panhandler might not even be homeless.
Well, no, in most cases he's not. And I got into somebody the other day about this, like, that's not very Christian of you. I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying a person who can work and is able-bodied and has the ability to work should not be parking their car in the greater downtown area, getting out and spending the day harassing people, then getting back in their car and going home. I think those people who can work should be working.
Absolutely.
And I think the idea that you're harassing, law-abiding citizens that are walking along the street, I don't think there's anything good or decent about that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't add anything to the city for sure.
So it'll be interesting to see going forward. Look, I think everybody should be able to agree that, at least with medical marijuana, between you and your doctor, the idea that we push people into dangerous opioids or whatever, that marijuana should be legal between you and your doctor. If you make that choice, that is the best approach for you, a licensed medical professional, that you should be able to do that. Now, we can have a conversation about full-on legality. I support that as long as it's in the confines of your own home. You can't be doing it on the public square. I just think there's such a patchwork of rules and regulations, it makes it very hard for society to get its arms around what it is and how it could actually work effectively.
Well, especially with marijuana, it's always been a head scratcher to me, particularly amongst Christian conservatives who are opposed to legalization. But isn't banning marijuana kind of like telling God he's wrong? It was put on this earth. It grows damn near everywhere and in great abundance. It's easy to cultivate and it makes life better. If you're banning it, aren't you telling the good Lord that you made a mistake when you put that here? We know better.
Look, again, my thing is I don't want to smell it. I don't want to be exposed to it. And if there's very strict guidelines around where you can do it at, then if you want to smell like that, that's on you. It's none of my business. But I don't want to smell it. I don't want it on my street. I don't want to be out in my backyard and have to, inhale it. I don't certainly want to be in a public square of some sort and have to be a part of it. And I think that's a major problem, is getting those guardrails around how that legalization would actually work.
I mean, hey, they got filtration systems that work just fine in Nikki Blaine's lounge.
Yeah. All right. Hey, real quick, I saw this clip, and this clip is from 2009. And so it's not like, hey, Obama was in the Illinois legislature when he said this. This was Obama from 2009 when he was elected president of the United States. He was the sitting president of the United States, talking about what his immigration policy would look like. And I see where the left is now going after Donald Trump, and I think this is just the best. Go.
This is not going to be a free ride. It's not going to be some instant amnesty. What's going to happen is you are going to pay a significant fine. You are going to learn English. Ooh. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally. But after you've done these things over a certain period of time, you can earn your citizenship. So that it's not something that is guaranteed or automatic. You've got to earn it, but over time, you give people an opportunity. Now, it only works, though, if you do all the pieces. I think the American people, they appreciate and believe in immigration, but they can't have a situation where you just have 500,000 people pouring over the border without any kind of mechanism to control it. So we've got to deal with that at the same time as we deal in a humane fashion with folks who have put down roots here, have become our neighbors, have become our friends. They may have children who are U.S. citizens. That's the kind of comprehensive approach that we have to take. All right?
Sounds very Easton-phobia of him, Ethan.
Yeah, what radical right-wing Republican came up with that policy again?
These people are all full of it. Ethan's in for Casey. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Finally, a sports betting podcast for real dudes, not these male Kardashians that you see on television. The Degenerates Next Door Sports Betting Podcast. We do all the homework, we do it for free, and we don't wear skinny jeans.
The Degenerates Next Door. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts Download today The Degenerates Next Door.
If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, with leading-edge treatment options right in your backyard.
I feel blessed and lucky. If I knew someone that was going through what I was going through, I would definitely encourage them to participate in a clinical trial. For me, it was life-changing.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Hey, it's Rob Kendall. Join me November 21st at Hi-Fi, a celebrity bartender toast to Moselle Sanders, powered by Jack Daniels. I'll be one of the local celebrities creating a unique craft cocktail for you to enjoy. But here's the twist. You get to be the judge of who created the best cocktail. Not only will you have a great time tasting unique drinks, but you'll also be supporting the Moselle Sanders Foundation. Your ticket starting at just $20 helps us reach our goal of $10,000 to feed 10,000 people this Thanksgiving. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at hifiindy.com.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
So there are now doubts about the vote count in Wisconsin. It's Kendall and Casey Show, 93 WIBC. I'm Rob. Ethan Hatcher's in for Casey today. You know what was fascinating? I saw this. Kamala Harris didn't win a single state where there's a voter ID law.
Yeah, I saw that.
Isn't that amazing?
Fascinating.
That she didn't win a single state where there's a voter ID law. And I have never understood, maybe you can help me with this, why people would be offended to say, I am Fred Smith. I live at this address. I have the right to vote as a U.S. citizen. I don't want anybody else taking my right to vote. And here is my driver's license, and I'll sign this little pad for you, and thank you. Now I go vote. Why that is a thing to me, I've yet to figure out.
The dirty little secret is because, of course, it does make it ultimately easier to cheat. There's no reason why there shouldn't be that level of protection and that level of regulation to ensure the safety and the sanctity of the vote count total. There's no reason for it. You can do it with your liquor. You do it with your driver's license. You do it with a litany of other things where your identity has to be verified. Vote should be no different.
Yeah, and I just... it's like sometimes elections in Indiana go the way I want. Sometimes they don't. Like in 2020, when I was supporting Rainwater, I didn't the day after go, I think that election was stolen. It was like, no, Holcomb got a bunch of Democrats to vote for him, and that's why he's the governor again, right? I mean, I didn't question the integrity of the election. Why? Because people have to show who they are in order to vote. There are fairly stringent laws related to absentee voting, which is good. And I just don't understand why any state would not want, and you've already answered the question, Ethan, why you would not want somebody to have to show a piece of identification, just like at the liquor store, to say, here's who I am, here's where I live, I will sign this form, and now I may go vote. Thank you so much.
But the ultimate question is, are they doing this cheating? Are they doing this vote changing to the tune of hundreds, thousands, or potentially tens of thousands of votes?
Well, this is what I don't know, and this is what I don't understand, because Eric Hovde was the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, Trump won Wisconsin. So a Republican was able to win in Wisconsin. But then listen to this response. So he was ahead, and then the old switcheroo happened late in the game. And listen to him lay out what he claims happened in Wisconsin. And you tell me if this makes any. I don't know what to do with this because, like I said, Trump won. Trump figured out a way to win. But this sure does sound fishy. Take a listen.
Wisconsin Election Commission is in the final process of finalizing the canvass from last Tuesday's election. Like many of my supporters, I was shocked by what unfolded on election night. At 1 a.m., I was receiving calls of congratulations, and based on the models, it appeared I would win the Senate race. Then at 4 a.m., Milwaukee reported approximately 108,000 absentee ballots, with Senator Baldwin receiving nearly 90% of those ballots. Statistically, this outcome seems improbable, as it didn't match the patterns from same-day voting in Milwaukee, where I received 22% of the votes. Since last Wednesday, numerous parties have reached out to me about voting inconsistencies, such as certain voting precincts in Milwaukee having turnout of over 150% of registered voters, and in some cases over 200%. Additionally, in 2020, President Biden received 10 million more votes than Vice President Harris did last Tuesday. Yet in Milwaukee, even though the population of Milwaukee has declined and registered voters declined by 26,330 and early voting numbers were down.
I mean, and he goes on with more details. So my point on all this is, and I'm speaking clearly, very specifically as admitting, I don't know what to think of this because somehow Trump won the state, but yet when he's throwing out those sort of numbers, and by the way, the same day voting thing, where you can register and vote on the same day, to me is just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I mean, like the idea that you have the whole year to register and, you
wait until the last possible minute.
Come on, right? I mean, so what do you make of that? I mean, I don't know because I don't want to be conspiracy theorist person. Clearly Trump won the state, so somehow he won, but those numbers are a little squirrely.
Well, Rob, I think we've had shades of this discussion long ago on these airwaves, and we won't tread through those waters again.
Good for you. You're learning, Ethan. You're learning. You're learning.
But my question with all this has always been like, okay, we have the process to contest the vote. We have the process to investigate the vote. We also have courts to examine these issues. Why is the appeal always through, social media or just through the odds? Okay, the odds are like the prima facie basis for proceeding, with an investigation. But at some point, you actually have to have the substance and the evidence to back up this. And if they are manufacturing votes by the tens of thousands, I would like to know. I think the American people have a vested interest in knowing whether that's the case. But surely on that scale, you would be able to find evidence and present this in a compelling way in a court of law. Would you not?
Yeah, I don't know. That's my point. I wasn't saying it, playing the clip to make a definitive statement. I'm just saying those are some really interesting stats, and somebody might be able to step up and go, nah, he's full of crap. But he seemed pretty earnest on it. Real quick, if you are a person who's on social media quite a bit, especially Twitter, Donald Trump's granddaughter is becoming a rising star in the political movement. Now, you may remember her. She spoke at Kai Trump is her name. She spoke at the convention. She's a great amateur golfer. She's very, very good. She'll probably eventually end up on the LPGA Tour if she desires to do so. But for whatever reason, she is now getting a ton of attention, very similar to like what Barron Trump was getting in Trump's first presidency, how the camera kind of got drawn to him and then they watched him grow up, and she's getting a lot of attention now. And so she posted this video to social media, and I thought it was interesting how she described her grandfather.
He won the race, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to do for the next few years. I think he's going to kill it. Every single thing he does, he puts 100% of his effort into it, and I think he's going to do an amazing job, and he deserves this more than anyone in the whole world, and he's going to kill it and make America great again, and he's really going to do what's right for the people, and that's what he doesn't need this job. He doesn't need it at all. He could just play golf for the rest of his life and just live in Mar-a-Lago, but he wants to fight for this country, and he has a vision, and he's going to follow through on that vision.
I often thought it would be very hard to be the son or daughter, in this case, granddaughter of an uber famous person. I mean, you could make a compelling case, maybe other than Taylor Swift, Donald Trump is the most famous person on the planet. He may be the most famous person on the planet. And obviously, with him, there is no middle ground, right? Like, people either love the guy or hate the guy. And I don't know what she is, 16, 17 years old, 18, I don't know what the number is. But she's a good golfer. Clearly, she has an interest in that. And you're trying to live your life. And yet now you have all of this spotlight thrust upon you because of who your grandfather is that really doesn't relate to anything you want to do with your life.
I think a lot of people wither under that pressure, but they've already been primed for it because Donald Trump has been famous for years now.
My dad used to tell me when I was a kid, he's like, this is why I didn't become famous. I don't want to put any pressure on you. Very nice.
Good call.
All right, let's take a break. Ethan's in for Casey, 93 WIBC.
Are you having a hard time making it through a day of work without foot pain or discomfort with things that used to be simple, like walking the dog? You may be thinking there's no way that something as simple as the Good Feet store can help you, like Bill.
My feet would just ache, my back would hurt, my ankles, everything just hurt. And I'd seen the commercial several times before I finally said, I'm going to do this. And I'll be darned if it didn't work. I feel a million times better than I ever did.
Another satisfied customer of the Good Feet store is Wendy.
Since wearing my arch supports from the Good Feet store, my back pain is gone and my feet don't hurt as much. And as I look into the future without pain, I see myself being even more adventurous, joyful, and full of possibility.
Come to the Good Feet store today for your free fitting and test walk. We're located in Castleton by the Fashion Mall or in Greenwood just off the 65. Or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. Good Feet arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Discover your options at the Good Feet store.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. You know, it's Wednesday. That means Sunday's going to be here before you know it. And this Sunday, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, check out the place where many WIBC listeners have found a home at, Life Church. You know, right now we're working through the book of John, the story of Jesus. And oh my gosh, it is just so interesting. You would love it. Life Church is warm. They're welcoming. They've been so great to me and to my wife and my daughter. And they would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Campus is all across central Indiana, so it's very easy for you. Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, plus awesome online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
Well-changing question. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? High taxes can erode returns quickly, so you need a tax-optimized portfolio. At Creative Planning, our money managers and specialists work together to make sure your portfolio and wealth are managed in a tax-efficient manner. It's what you keep that really matters. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Their first time meeting since the election. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. President Biden is meeting with President-elect Trump at the White House today. Before Trump arrived, Biden spoke about the state of the economy.
Not everyone has felt the progress because it takes time. We've emerged from a crisis. We have the strongest economy in the world. Much more to do.
Their get-together comes as Trump is working to fill key posts in his upcoming administration. One of the latest appointments announced former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee as ambassador to Israel. Senate Republicans are voting to select their new leader. South Dakota's John Thune, John Cornyn of Texas, and Florida's Rick Scott are vying to be the party leader in the upper chamber. They're all looking to replace Kentucky's Mitch McConnell, who is stepping aside as Republican leader. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When I set out to build our firm, it was built for greatness. It was built for you. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Today, Morgan & Morgan has more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world. If you or anyone in your family has been injured, call America's largest injury law firm. Call Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com. Visit ForThePeople.com for an office near you.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online. And more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
For your free system replacement analysis, give Family a call today at 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Sundown Gardens fall sale continues. 30 to 50% off trees and shrubs in stock. 186th Street, Spring Mill Road in Westfield, sundown.gardens.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
Yeah, you know, that's actually really good advice. It's actually spot on. It's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob. Ethan's in for Casey today. Casey will be back tomorrow. Kev is back. And we were talking about during the break, Casey normally does all the work for the show. So the past 3 days I've had to do the work, right? And Kev made a great point. Look, I've worked really hard to figure out how to not have to work, Ethan. Okay, I'm pretty darn good at what I do, and I'll put my talent level against anybody in this city in terms of the ability to broadcast. Hard work, not my thing. I've figured out at this point, after 22 years in this business, that if I don't have a take on Trump or Kamala or Elon or Braun or whoever, right? It'll just be time for me to hang it up, right? I need the details, the high level, and then let's roll, right? And that seems to work pretty well with our audience because we're number one. Seems to work pretty well with our audience. But when Casey's not here, I have to do all the actual. You ever do that, Kev, where you're like you have to do the bare minimum of work where you normally have to do no work, and you're like, this is really disrupting my entire day.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And what'd you say during the break? You said, what was it about hard work?
I was saying you don't want to try too hard.
Indeed.
Because it comes across as desperate.
That's right. Thank you. Yes, you don't want to. I'm going to put that on a sign over our office back there. You don't want to try too hard because it comes across as desperate.
I always assumed you were putting together the show rundown for the benefit of your co-host because you could just freewheel it for 3 hours solid. And I've watched you do it for 2 on the Rob Kendall show back when you had that Sunday program.
Yeah, I mean, I basically did that today, right? I mean, look at that template. It was like 1 page. It's like, here you go. Here's the clips. Let's roll, right? I mean, we know what we're doing here at this point. Once we stop being number one, if we fall off, then people can... it's like I was thinking about this today. When I used to be a pretty good golfer, and when I was at my best, I never practiced. I just go out and play every day. And really good golfers will tell you.
Wait a minute, though. If you're going out and playing every day, isn't that practice?
No. There's a big difference. Like practice.
What is the difference?
Practice is getting on the driving range. It's you're working on your swing. You're trying to ensure that your swing is flawless. You're hitting different types of shots. You're chipping. You're putting.
Okay, but when you're playing, are you playing by yourself? Or are you playing with friends? Or is this for a competition?
So I had a pretty charmed life for a while, Ethan. Like when I was self-employed for 15 years, I would, I'd wake up at noon, eat some SpaghettiOs for breakfast, and I'd stay up and work till 3. And then I'd get up at noon and I'd be at the golf course by 1. And I could, because there was nobody out there in the middle of the day, I could zip around there in about 3 hours. And I just, play by myself each day. And you play every single day and you get better and better at what you're doing.
That's practice.
No, it's not
Help
practice.
me out, Kev.
No, it's a big difference.
Kev, is that practice?
It's fairly stress-free practice.
Yeah, if you are playing, you're a drummer, right? Or
yeah.
Yeah, okay. If you're playing the drums every day and you're playing by yourself, you might not be practicing, how to hit the cymbals a particular way. But if you're playing music that you enjoy, then you are practicing at getting better at drumming. Right?
Yeah, I mean, true.
There we go.
It's not like Whiplash where I'm getting screamed at by a teacher or something, but I'm practicing playing songs I like.
I love that you've turned into Mr. Sports over here, by the way. I love that. My point on all this is I used to just like to go out and play, and it's like you'll get better by playing, even though truly good golfers will tell you in order to get better, you have to practice and practice and practice. And I just didn't care. I just didn't care enough to put the time into it to be that. And so it's kind of been that way with this. Like, we have this relationship with our audience at this point. We've been together for 7.5, 8 years, whatever it's been. 8 years. I've been here 8 years. Can you believe that?
I can. Because I've been here that long.
I started as the fill-in guy in 2016. I worked with the women full-time in 2017. So that'll be December. Will be 8 years that I've been at WIBC. And what I figured out is when you overthink things, you don't do as good a job in this industry. I think too many people spend too much time overthinking everything. And my point is, the audience and I, we're ride or die together now at this point, right? Like, we know we're in a committed relationship with each other. We're like Archie Bunker and Edith. We know what's going on. They know what to expect. They know what I'm going to give them. And that's what they get each day.
Is that why my show sucks? Is that why I'm on Saturdays? Because it takes me like a couple hours to put together the show prep.
You put way too much time into that show. I mean, I'm sorry. You just put way too. You got to free flow it, right? It's the stream of consciousness, whatever comes to your mind. And speaking of which, so Biden and Trump had their meeting today, or having their meeting, or whatever. It was filmed. People were, videos of them together. And so it got me thinking, we have had a running bit on this show the past, 3 years or so, every so often, 6 months or whatever. We have you come in and say where you think Joe Biden ranks in terms of the all-time worst presidents.
Yeah.
I think when you started 3-ish years ago, you had him in the top at number 5, right?
I think the first time we did it, he hadn't cracked into the top 5 because he just got elected. He hadn't had enough room to, make the list yet. He inched his way on the list as we returned to the bit.
Yeah. So this may be, I don't know if we're going to get a chance to work together again, but because the week of Thanksgiving, and then my last day is December 16th. And then I'm out of here for the rest of the year. So I don't know if we're going to get a chance to work together again. But while I had you here, I wanted to ask you. He made it up to number 3, right?
He's not moved off of number 3.
He's still at number 3.
You can't eclipse, certainly not in one term, the damage that was accomplished in the Woodrow Wilson administration or the prelude to the Civil War by James Buchanan's dithering.
Okay, Buchanan was pretty bad, right? Like the country did have the Civil War because of Buchanan. That's a pretty hard one to beat. And Wilson
resegregated the federal government,
that's pretty
rewrote American history and instituted the income tax. I mean, Biden was bad, but he wasn't that bad. He is now worse than Andrew Johnson, and he's worse than Warren G. Harding.
Yeah.
But he's not worse than Buchanan or Wilson.
Carter was not on your list, right?
He was, but he got bumped off.
By Biden?
By Biden.
Oh, by Biden. Okay, very good. Yeah, I think you'd look at, the fact that the guy got 14 million votes and they took it from him, that shows how bad he actually was, right? If you get 14 million votes and they take it from you, and they give it to the most unpopular vice president in history. Well, right. So you love history. You're a history nerd, and I love that about you. I do wonder if we've dumbed down, because there was a time, I was having this conversation, this has been a little while ago, but I was having this conversation with another member of the media, and they were saying, and this was an offline conversation, wasn't meant to sway anybody one way or another, but they were saying, and this person's older than I am, but they were saying there was a time in our society, and I think this from this person's childhood, they're a generation ahead of me, through certainly my childhood, where no matter what party the president was of, it was this like universally respected person, right? Like, oh my gosh, you too, son or daughter, could ascend to the presidency of the United States. And I don't know, I think Bill Clinton might have been the first time where you're like, I don't know if I really respect that person. Like, whether you like George W. Bush or not, okay, that's a respectable individual, right? He served his country. He was a war hero. I just don't. I don't know if we have that, the presidency has that allure anymore based on you've gone from Clinton to Bush to Obama to Trump to Biden to Trump. It's like, does the presidency still have the universal respect and allure that it once did?
I have a take on this, and this comes from an older gentleman who I had grown up with who worked for my grandparents. And of course, he had political opinions, and we would discuss them from time to time. And he had a moment, when that he could pinpoint when respect for the presidency began to be diminished. And certainly it wasn't something that happened right away. It was a gradual shift. But for him, it boiled down to JFK. You know why?
Why?
He said, I'll try and talk like him. Now, Ethan, the president used to be a serious affair for serious men. And you'd look at the pictures on the wall of all the presidents, and they were all stern, and they were all scowling. And then you get to JFK, and he was the first president that had that goofy-ass smile on his face. And wouldn't you know it, every president for their portrait smiles after that. No, the president is for serious men, and it's a serious office. And that, for him, was where the presidency began to be diminished.
So his deal was
smile.
Because JFK smiled in his portrait. That was it.
Yes, that was it. That was the moment that things began to shift and the presidency began to be a less serious affair, and now it was a goofy place for likable people.
Oh, that's so good. But it does. I never thought about this, but it does. He was right in the sense of part of the charm of those old photos was how stoic the people looked, right? Like, for example, the most famous baseball card in the world is the Honus Wagner T206 card, and he was one of the most famous baseball players of all time, but it's also a super rare card, and there's myth and lore about why it's so rare and etc. But part of the charm of the card is the stoic photo that you have this incredible baseball player, one of the greatest baseball players of all time, and he is immortalized in this stoic rare baseball card photo where he looks just the most miserable person on the planet. And you wonder, like you do wonder, right? Like what happened that day? Like why did people not used to smile in their photos? Was it because of how long it took to take the photo?
That was the original reason, yes.
Yes, because they had plates or whatever and used to not be able to. If you had asked somebody to smile, it would have been minutes of smiling. That's fascinating. That's great. I love that. Tell that guy that's a great take. All right.
Well, he's dead. He's dead now. So.
Well, then don't tell him. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-9336. 800-444-9336.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
My office has its ups and downs.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, one thing's for certain. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast, and you can invite your top choices to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, for any kind of office.
I'm really going places in my office.
My office has everything you could ever want.
Count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
It is the Kendall Casey Show.
It's so hard to risk enough.
Just keep going. It's fine.
Yeah, good song choice. Love it.
Anyway, it's Kendall Casey Show. That's Jackson Brown. Kev knows just how to play with my heartstrings. Ethan's in for Casey today. I'm Rob. Casey will be back tomorrow. Kev is back. Ethan, you ever wonder what it'd be like to be rich? Like really rich?
Yeah, from time to time. I mean, who doesn't?
Do you ever ponder that?
I ponder enough to occasionally buy into the lottery.
You're a lottery player?
No, I am a lottery player when they announce like, oh, it's $1 billion jackpot or something. I'll go out and buy a couple tickets.
This is fascinating to me. So like if it's 400 million, that's not doing anything for you, but the 1 billion would be enough to entice your
I mean, it would do something for me, but I don't spend my time fantasizing about the lottery, so it really only enters my awareness when they announce the...
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is, like you had said, hey, like when it gets to those super big ones, and people do this all the time where, oh my gosh, the jackpot is 1.2 billion, I should really play. Well, when it was 700 million, you were out on that, so 700 million wouldn't do anything for you, but that 1.2 billion, now I'm in for $1.
Well, again, it's the difference of being advertised and promoted. Once it hits those big, it hits the threshold, that's when people talk about it, and that's when it enters my consciousness, and like, I'll buy a ticket.
Okay, so it's not that you're dismissing what, say potentially 500 million could do for you. It's being put in your face when it's $1 billion. That makes sense. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I saw this story. The Wall Street Journal had this story, and you'll appreciate this because you're in the real estate industry, that this billionaire hedge fund guy, Ken Griffin is his name, and he owns this huge penthouse, or he owned this huge penthouse in Chicago, and it oversees the water, and it's just, the most premium real estate imaginable. And he is selling this for $19 million, which would be a 44% loss over the $34 million he paid for it in 2017.
Sounds like he overpaid.
So he's losing $15 million. And I do wonder, like I read this story and I wonder what it would be like to be so ridiculously rich that you could lose $15 million and you're just like, it didn't work out for me. Like, sometimes you...
I can't fathom it. I can't fathom what it would be like to be so affluent and wealthy that the loss of $15 million would mean nothing. That's you're approaching terms that just like they're hard to even understand because they have no functional meaning for. I've never seen that amount of money in my life together in one place.
I'm trying to think in my existence what like the that didn't work out for me would be like something I would spend money on and it didn't like work out for me, and what that would be the equivalent of and how much that would be. And I can't even begin to process. I mean, the guy lost $15 million and he appears to have just no qualms about it whatsoever. It was just like, well, I got to get out of here. I got other things I got to do, and this isn't working out for me. And so here's $15 million. Thank you for the time. I mean, he was there for 7 years.
Enviable position. Well, I mean, when you're talking about real
$2
estate
million
places like that, you're not even really paying for the value of the property so much as the prestige it affords. And, in a post-COVID world, I guess that's not worth as much anymore.
Well, and then that is the part of the broader conversation, which is the wealth gap in this country. And I am not a person who I believe you legally make as much money as you possibly can. I'm not a person that believes you owe your stuff to anybody else. If you earn it legally, unless you're Pablo Escobar, right? Like, you make it, you save it, you do with it what you want. However, we seem to be hearing more and more stories about super rich people doing super eclectic things. And then you look at the middle class and they're being consistently squeezed down or even out of the middle class. And I don't think that's a hyper-productive way to run a society.
How do you correct it, though?
Well, that's the question, right? Is how do you create an environment by which regular people are being lifted up? And I'm not against tippy-top people being lifted up, but it seems like what seems to have happened to me is that the tippy-top people, especially in a post-COVID world, figured out how to game the system to their advantage, and they continue to see their income score soar, either through the stock, primarily through the stock market, investments, et cetera, that regular people do not have access to. Like, Elon Musk is the richest man in the world on paper. He doesn't actually have $200 billion at his disposal or whatever, which is why when he bought Twitter, there was a lot of consternation about that because of what he was paying versus what his actual liquid worth was. There was a point several years ago where Tesla board was encouraging him to sell his property so he would have more actual cash because they were nervous about the cash he had on hand. But the idea that you as a regular person, and by this I'm not talking about welfare kings and queens, right? I'm talking about people who go to work, who've tried to learn a skill, have tried to learn a trade, have pride in their work, do the thing to the best of their ability. Those people are struggling to even keep pace with their buying power. And then we have people like this at the tippy top who can lose $15 million and go, well, that was a fun experience.
It's corporations, Rob. It's corporations who have extracted and evacuated the wealth from middle-class America because they have consolidated their wealth, and their wealth is built on the margins. And when they make, itty-bitty choices for the company, it ends up, it can make profit up into the tens of millions of dollars. And they're wed to this corporate culture of infinite growth. Whereas if you're in a small mom and pop business situation, I am, anytime that you're profitable, that's considered a success. But in the corporate world, profit isn't enough. You have to have the mega profit. If you grew by 20% last quarter, then you have to grow by 20% every quarter in the future, or else somehow that's considered a failure, and they'll make whatever cuts are necessary, usually to the people on the bottom, in order to make that profit.
That's fascinating you said that, because this industry, not us here, thankfully right now, knock on wood, but this industry has seen some bloodbaths at some of our rival competitors. And one of the things in this industry is it's always that quest to make the tippy top number look as good as it can, and you can only cut yourself so far. And I think that's part of what Trump's election, and it's ironic coming from a guy who's a billionaire electing a billionaire, but it was the middle class speaking up saying, look, we feel left behind. Mm-hmm. We feel as though we're being forgotten. We feel as though we're not being taken care of, or perhaps even more importantly, we feel as though we no longer have the ability to take care of ourselves in the manner that should be afforded to us if we're willing to work, if we're willing to get up each day, if we're willing to put the effort into it. It's really hard to be a middle-class person right now in the American economy.
Well, I think that's the promise. What you were describing is the promise of the American dream, and why so many Americans feel that they've been fundamentally cheated and are desperate for anything different to return them to that promise.
Well, this was a fun show today, Ethan.
It was.
Everybody thought we were going to fight. We didn't fight at all. Didn't fight about anything. I think because Kevin was back. He's a real calming influence.
Well, the election's over. There's nothing more to fight
That's
about.
true.
Trump won, and he won in a landslide.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Well, thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Casey will be back tomorrow, which means the show will be infinitely better. The topics will be infinitely better. And in the meantime, we love you. Ethan, you were great.
Thank you.
Kevin, meh. It was all right. We love you. Kendall Casey Show. Stick around. Tony Katz coming up next. 93 WIBC.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, what's
What's all this I hear about Seasons free things?
Yeah, we're giving away even more than usual this season.
Free alignment with any Ford tire purchase isn't seasonal, Mike. It's free every day at tire discounters.
Sure, but right now, guess what else happens every day?
I know that customers can save up to $250 on Michelin tires.
Absolutely. Now guess what else?
Mike, I'm a phantom tire buyer with a secret identity. Please don't toy with me.
Okay, here's the deal.
Yes?
We're doing these drawings.
Like a game show.
And one lucky customer per day wins all their money back for 4 tires.
Spectacular! But why call it Seasons free things?
You know, Season's greetings.